For the Hollywoodbets sponsored Cheltenham Preview evening, hopefully we'll find a winner or two. If you listen to Andrew Halligan, you're just going to listen to how every favourite's going to win tonight. So we'll start by our panel from Up in the Ante podcast and the Gavin Lynch. The Finish in Line podcast and favourite tipster, Andrew Halligan. Dino Dave, podcast as well, Dave O'Keefe. Also from the Finish in Line podcast, Garlic Bread, Tom Rain. Toyeste's winning jockey and the man that gave Quilixios a ball for right at Limerick, according to Ruby Walsh, Darragh O'Keefe. I've nothing bad to say about Andrew Blair White from Let's Talk Racing. We had a lovely meal and Jason's down there as well. So he's going to give us a tip or two later on. He just doesn't know it yet. Are we all right, Frankie? The first race on day one is the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Lads, did you know since 2013, Willie Mullins has won 5 of the last 9 runnings: Champagne Fever, Vautour, Duvan, Classical Dream and Appreciate It. And Nicky Henderson has won 2, Altior and Shishkin. Gav, which one of them wins it this year?
Yeah, I'd say maybe Willie. I'm going to go for Dice Art Dynamo. I know he's drifted in the last day or two in the exchanges. He was maybe 7-2, 4-1, maybe 4 days ago, and now Sir Gerhard is shorting him. But I still think Dice Art Dynamo will probably go here. In a Punchtown, but looked proper horse. I see where he's rated 150. Constitution Hill is 148 in the UK. John Bon is 145. So Gerhard and Dice Art Dynamo, as I said, both 150. If they went to England, they'd get the usual 3 or 4 VAT or tax on the way over. So to me, that puts them £5 or £6 in front. Constitution Hill is only a 5-year-old. He's only got 1 point to point. He 2 runs over hurdles in Sandown. Sandown and Cheltenham are very different. Obviously, one is right-handed, one's left-handed. I just think inexperience is going to count against him. Plus, he doesn't get any allowance for being a 5-year-old against the others who've had more runs. So I'd be against him. He hasn't beaten much. The form of the Tolworth the last day with Chital and Mr. Glass, it's just okay form. It's nothing special. They're only rated, say, around 130, so that's not special. John Bon, he learned nothing the first 2 days in Newbury and Ascot. Learned a lot more the last day because it was a proper run race. I learned to quicken, and then he quickened again a second time. He'd have a bit of a squeak. I'm told that Kilcrut is going very well, so he must have a decent chance. So if it was me, I'd back Dice Art Dynamo with a saver on Kilcrut.
Andrew, Sir Gerhard's, he's the bumper winner from last year, of course. Probably lucky to win it in the end, but jumping the question mark?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk lately about his jumping. He wasn't spectacular now at the Dublin Racing Festival in February, but he has all the gears that you want for a Supreme Novice Hurdler. It's the jumping that would worry you. There is talk about him going to the Ballymore, the slower gallop, and that you see it there on the screen. He beat a very good horse there in the second, Three Stripe Life, who will be running in this. No, I think is still overpriced in that for a place. But I think it's as simple as whatever Willie runs out of Sir Gerhard or Dice Art Dynamo win this. And I would have a saver on Three Stripe Life to follow him home.
What's your fancy? Or do you have one?
I do. I would be in the Sir Gerhard camp as well. But echo what the lad said, I think Willie Mullins will have the winner, whoever he runs. For what it's worth, between the English two, I'd prefer John Bon. A lot of people crabbed his last run at Haydock, but as Gavin said, he actually had a race and learned a lot about him that time. The former Constitution Hill at Sandown is dismal, so I'd be taking him on.
Yeah, Constitution Hill has no hope in hell of winning this. He's probably one of the biggest lay of the beatings. Can't have him any day of the week. The form of the Tolworth is dirt. Absolute dirt. The record of that race is not great at all, and Sandown is running the bog. He's going to be on good ground here. John Bond will finish at least 6-7 lengths in front of him. He's the best of Nicky's.
Tom, we see Kilcrud on the screen. He was a second coming. I'm hearing good vibes about him. I actually put it into the group this afternoon. Could he be the one to upset the party? Or are you the kind of man, like, I know you're good at value now. Like, you probably backed him each way at 1 to 33.
Only in the first one, Agent. Please, for the love of God, don't start with value.
He probably backed him at 1 to 33 each way in Cork when he was beaten, and 1 to 14 the next day.
I look for me. For me, Kilcrud has got to improve a lot on what he's done over here. He does have that Cheltenham form, but he wouldn't be for me in this. This is probably the only race of the night that myself and Dave are going to agree on. And
correct.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know how we agree, but yeah, for me it's whatever.
Because I'm right.
Wants. You might be for once here, for once. But yeah, between Sir Gerhard and Dysart Dynamo, I wouldn't mind who ran in this. I think they would both win it. And also what Dave said about John Bond, I think he's the one going under the radar. That race at Haydock, he quickened twice, he jumped well, and you never go and win far at Haydock. So yeah, I think he's got an each way squeak. Again, with Andrew, I'd take on Constitution Hill, but for me, whatever Willie runs will win.
It's amazing, Dara, because I asked you if you had a ride in it earlier on, and you were very quick to say if you had one, who would it be?
I thought Dysart Dynamo looked very special the last day in Punchestown. I thought he beat a good enough horse of Gordon's Gringo. He beat him 20 lengths, and he seemed to have plenty left in the tank. I think Willie will probably go the Ballymore route with Sir Gerard, but I think the lads are being harsh enough on Constitution Hill. And what I saw him the last day, he never came off the bridle. He mightn't have beat much, but I don't think John Bond beat much the time before that. I think Kilcrud, he'll have to improve. I think from his last run, it's normally when Willie goes into a season with a proper Supreme Novices horse, they don't take 2 runs to win a maiden hurdle. He was second and third, and I know he was impressive the last day, but I think what was behind him could be questioned. But if I had to ride one, I'd definitely pick Dysart Dynamo, and I think Constitution Hill. I think the lads are being harsh on him. I thought he was very good on winning the Tolworth. I think as we talk about the other races later on, I think you'll be mentioning horses can only beat what turns up in the day, and I don't think he could have won any easier. So I think he Dysart Dynamo, but I think Constitution Hill will be second.
There's a form line between John Bon and Sir Gerhard. I just saw it there a second ago. Colonel Mustard, obviously, is if you want to look at it, I think John Bon was he 2.5 lengths second, and then Sir Gerhard hammered him at Leopardstown. Do we read much into that, Andrew?
I suppose you can make whatever you want out of those kind of collateral form lines, really. I'd echo plenty of what has already been said about Dysart Dynamo. Look, I think he's probably the more likely of the two to go to the Supreme. If you do like Constitution Hill, I wouldn't be quite as negative as the guys.
That's it. Turn off his mic. He's talking shite now.
I wouldn't be quite as negative as the guys.
It's gone again.
Jesus. This is the first faller tonight.
I wouldn't be quite as snippy as the guys, but if you do like him, I wouldn't back him now, because there's no chance he goes off 2 to 1 on the day, especially with the Irish piling in. I think the Mullins horse, whichever one it is, has to SB Fav. And this time 2 years ago, Shishkin was around 2 to 1. I think he went off SP 13 to 2 in the Supreme. Not saying it would be as drastic as that, but it would surprise me if you couldn't get 4 to 1 on Constitution Hill on the day. So
Dysart Dynamo for me. I could have made peace back in Kilcrush at the double the price he was a couple of weeks ago, but at 7-1, he's a pretty brutal price at this stage.
Is there anyone we're missing?
Just one thing, Adrian, as regards betting in the next 10 days. 80 to 90% of horses that are priced up right now will be bigger on the day. And you have to remember as well, the bookmakers, Tuesday morning, Wednesday morning in particular, they'll be given a lot of extra value to get new accounts. They're the 2 days for the whole year that they try and get extra accounts, such as Hollywoodbets. And
Well played.
they'll go bigger price on that morning at 10 or half 10. Most of those horses will be bigger prices. So I'd be keeping my hands in my pockets for the next week.
And outside the top 4, is there anyone we're missing?
I think
No.
3 stripe life each way.
He needs about 3 miles. So down the line, Gavin Lynch, your tip for the Supreme Novices Hurdle?
Yeah, go for Dysart Dynamo.
Andrew?
Whichever Sir Gerhard or Dysart run.
Sir Gerhard.
Yeah, whichever Willie runs.
Dysart Dynamo.
Yeah, Dysart Dynamo as well.
There we go. On to the Arkle. If we can. Before Fernie Hollow got injured, I suppose this was a penalty kick for Ireland, wasn't it, Andrew?
Yeah, if Fernie Hollow was here, you'd imagine he'd be long odds on. It's one of the most open Arkles I've seen in a long, long time. If you said to me this time last year that Eberstone would be 7-4, 9-4 favourite for an Arkle, I would have laughed at you. But he is now. Look, his form figures don't lie. He's unbeaten when he stayed up this season. He's looked visually good, but for the life of me, I just can't have him whatsoever. I don't know why. He's just not a horse that I've taken to or will ever probably take to. But then when you go down through it, it's what's there. You have Blue Lord, who beat Riviere de Tel, who probably would have won last time at the Dublin Race Festival if she didn't make a hash of the last. You have Hunt on Colours, who fell early in that race. You have St. Sam, who was third behind it. You've Course Sublime, who will vomit when he sees the hill. Magic Days would be an interesting one if she went here and she got her own way in front. It's hard to do, but I think Blue Lord right now, I think he's the one that could come on again from his run at the Dublin Racing Festival. And all comes to all, I think he's be the one I'd be siding with on the day.
Dara, Paul Townend was lucky enough to keep that race for Leopardstown, was he? On Blue Lord?
I suppose you can argue it both ways. You know, I'd say the connections of the second could probably say, you know, maybe different, but I don't think there was too much interference caused. I think if the mare jumped the last, she'd have probably won. But I think the horse I was most impressed with that day was St. Sam. I thought he ran with the choke out. He missed a couple of fences down the back, and he doesn't look like, you know, like to miss a couple of fences and to still only be beaten 4 lengths by them two. I thought his performance when he won his beginner's chase, he looked very, very impressive. And I think the experience of the last day will stand to him. But I think wherever Blue Lord finishes, I think St. Sam will be right there, and you know, Edward Stone, you know, his form figures don't lie. He was good the last day in Warwick. You know, he was impressive in Kempton and Sandown as well. So you know, he probably does set a fair standard here as well. It is an open Arkle, but I think Magic Days as well. If the ground happened to turn up, maybe on the slow side. She ran well her first run in Galway, and then she was very impressive in Cork. You know, she bolted up, and she might have underperformed a little bit the last day, but it was still a very good run. So I think she could be won at an each way price. But I think St. Sam is very interesting if he doesn't run as free as he did the last day. I think he's still open to more improvement.
I think Tom agrees there.
Yeah, I do actually. I think, like Dara, he was the one for me to take out that race at Leopardstown. He ran pretty free. He missed the second last, but he stayed on all the way to the line. He was only beaten 4 lengths by Blue Lord and Riviere de Tel. So I wouldn't rule him out going to Cheltenham, especially staying on up the hill if they go a good gallop in the Arkle. And if he doesn't miss one, I think he'll be bang there. For me, it's a wide open race. It's not a one I'm very strong on, but I'd take a punt on St. Sam.
Gavin, do you have a strong view on the Arkle?
I think it's an open enough race. I'll give you a couple of pointers there just to mention that, say in the Supreme Novices, there's 8 hurdles to jump. You won't believe it, but there's actually 13 fences to jump in the Arkle, which is 2 mile as well. So that's interesting. So jumping is a huge part of the Arkle every year. Also to mention that of the top 5 or 6, none of them were a Grade 1 winning hurdler, to my knowledge. And also, they were all keen types over hurdles, which I think is very interesting. People say that fences settle them down. I also wonder, the fact they're quite keen, are they just attack-minded, and it suits that they go chasing over 2 miles, so that's interesting. The pace in the race is going to come from Magic Days. St. Sam, who will be a gorgeous chaser over further, he'll be up there as well. It's going to be a very fast-run race. Sitting in third will be Riviere de Tel. She gets the £7. She was getting 9 off Blue Lord, but her mistake at the last cost of the race. She definitely would have won the last day. She's £2 worse off. But just on the fact that the ratings are quite close. Blue Lord 157, Riviere to Tell 150 plus the 7 is 157. Edward Stone 159. I wouldn't back it with 9 to 4. If you went out to 3 to 1, I might. I think he's the best jumper in the race. It's going to be set up for him. His jump in the last day in Warwick was electric. Down the back straight, he couldn't hold on to him. He ended up getting there too soon. So fast run race. The best jumper in the race. So maybe Edward Stone.
Dave?
I'm kind of the same as Andrew. I respect Edward Stone, but I wouldn't be backing him at 9 to 4. Gavin kind of went through.
Two of you have slagged Edward Stone for the whole year, and you sit up here now, and the two of you have respect for him. For fuck's sake, just because Gavin's there.
Let's rewind that. Frankie, can we rewind that back and say the words that I say respect?
Do you know, before we started...
You be careful now, it's a long night.
Before we started, all the race we're going through, he just had Gaelic Warrior up on the screen. And he's banging on about this. But anyway, the Willie Mullins tree, like Fernie was the main Arkle horse for the race, clearly. So I think the other three are probably...
You do this in the podcast the whole time. Put the mic to your mouth.
I'm not used to it. I think they're afterthoughts in this. Of the three Willie Mullins, I'd be siding with Hawthorne and Colours. But again, I'd go with the lads with Magic Days each way. I think she'll be out in front. Henry put her away after our last race. He done what put the kettle on before as well. It's a poor enough race in my opinion. And the two fillies in that race that beat her, Jeremy's Flame and Concertista, are actually decent mares, decent fillies. So I think she's a chance each way, but it's not a great race.
Can we just take note that Dave was the first man to tip a Henry de Bromhead horse tonight ahead of Tom and Andrew, the fan club. Andrew Blair, any view?
Not a massive view on the Arkle. I couldn't have Edward Stone at all. I know Dara was saying the form figures don't lie. The form figures in races that he's run in against Irish horses don't lie as well. He's 0 for 4. And he's ran brutal. He was beaten in the county hurdle of 140 something last year. I know he's improved plenty for fences, but he's been beaten third time lucky. If we're calling a spade, third time lucky. If he was trained in Ireland, would be running in the Grand Annual off a decent weight rather than running around in graded races. I think Blue Lord is probably actually getting to the stage where he's becoming a bit underrated. I don't like Riviere de Tel. I hate horses that it's ifs. You know, if she jumped the last, if her Fernie Hollow wasn't there, she's turning into Fakir Dudery the year he came second in the Arkle. And
that's an outrageous statement.
be that as it may, but I wouldn't be backing her at 7 to 2.
He won a Grade 1 the other day if you didn't say it.
Yeah, no, yeah, fair enough. But when he runs against Allo, he sees his backside. So, look,
To be fair, that Grade 1 was terrible.
Just they're all bad Grade 1s with Gillette, so yeah.
No, she just wouldn't be for me. I think Blue Lord is a bit better than he showed at Leopardstown the last day. I thought he was much better in his previous 2 starts. He jumped a lot better at Naas as well. So I think there's a bit more improvement to come from him. I'd echo what Dara was saying about St. Sam. I think he's probably the each way bet in the race if he goes there.
Blue Lord for Andrew. Dara, your pick?
I think I I think Saint Sam is the pick of mine for the Irish. Yeah, I think he was definitely the one to take out of the race the last day. He was only 4 lengths behind Riviere de Tel and Blue Lord, you know. So I think him, and I think Magic Days. I think she could put up a bold show if the ground is on the slow side.
Tom?
Yeah, Saint Sam as well for me.
Dave?
Are you working there? He's Skype up.
Tom is working here
My work Skype just popped up, sorry.
in the middle of the podcast. He does this all the time. Magic Days each way.
Andrew?
Blue Lord.
Gavin?
Just to pick Edward Stone, but not with a huge amount of confidence.
There we go. Surely the champion hurdle's coming back to Waterford again. Tom?
Yeah, it looks that way, doesn't it? Honeysuckle, she's been a great mare. She was very good in the Hatton's Grace this year. Maybe not up to her best at Leopardstown, but she still did it very, very well. I know Willies are quite keen on Appreciate It. Apparently, Dara might know better than me, but apparently Paul Townend came back in and said, I can't wait to get a go at her on the big horse. So they're pretty confident. I see Patrick Mullins' Titanic quote as well. That Appreciate It could be Honeysuckle's iceberg. I hope that isn't true.
That's terrible.
He did say that, yeah. But
Sorry,
look,
Tom, just on the video there that you can see, just watch when sorry to interrupt you, is that when the see there, you think she's going to win 10, 12, 15 lengths, don't you? And just when the camera angle changes.
It's in front of you, Tom, look.
yeah, if you're trying to draw me into this now, I'm not getting drawn into it, especially this early. Yeah, she wasn't her best. No, she definitely wasn't her best, as a few of them haven't been. But, yeah, no, I do still think she'll win. I think Appreciate It is by far and away the best horse behind her in this. I've had a few quid on him without her, and I think that's the way to play the race from a betting point of view.
Dara Ruby said you gave Quilixios a ball to ride in Limerick. Is that true?
I'd agree with him. Yeah, I would. Yeah. But going back to Honeysuckle, she looked very good to me the last day. I think winning a Grade 1 by 6.5 lengths, she had to have been impressive. She always kind of slows down a bit when she's in front going to the last. She's done that a few times, but anything that's trying to beat her hasn't beaten her. And sure, you know, the lads will probably say it was a bad Grade 1. She won the last day as well, but a Grade 1 is a Grade 1 at the end of the day. And any time you go out and win it, I think is, you know, she's her record speaks for herself. I thought she was really, really good in Fairyhouse. It doesn't seem to matter whether it's 2.5 miles, 2 miles, good ground, soft ground, you know, you name it. She seems to just get on and do the job. And I think she by far sets the standard here. And Appreciate It looked very good winning the Supreme last year, and you know everybody's saying that he's probably one of the best horses Honeysuckle has come up against, but she's by far one of the best horses he's ever going to have to come up with, and I think she'll win. And I think if she gets beaten, I think everybody will go home sad from Cheltenham, the record she has now and how good she is for race. And so I think Honeysuckle will win, and she looked as impressive as ever to me the last day anyway.
Is it just simple Honeysuckle wins, Dave? Are we just trying to overcomplicate it here?
Look, I agree with what Gavin said. She wasn't as impressive at Leopardstown, but I do hope she wins. For me, I'd be looking maybe to back Tia Hoopo each way. I know Tom said Appreciate It is probably her biggest challenger. I don't mind the 4-year-olds from last year that are 5 now. Appreciate is going to have to run to a very high rating to get close to her. I think he's a decent horse. He's been beating the Triumph Hurdle winner this year. Zana here has been running behind Honeysuckle, so the 5-year-olds are not that bad. I think he has a right good chance.
Andrew, there's no point asking you, is there, to be honest?
She just wins. All this if, buts and maybes. She's never that impressive. Let's call a spade a spade. She's never that impressive. She's, as Dara alluded to, she slows up when she comes to the last hurdle. She only does what she has to do. Appreciate It will have to improve beyond recognition on his first run of the season to beat her in the champion hurdle. She just doesn't be beaten. There's no hope in hell unless she falls and nothing beats her. You shush now. Mr. Dunphy.
Started already.
Mr. Dunphy now. We haven't gotten anywhere near Bob yet.
We'll get to
It's
that
getting
now.
closer, isn't it? I can't wait to see what he says. Will he say the same as he said last week?
Who wins, Bob?
He said Gallivan last week.
But I think Santa here follows her home.
That's only because you put him up as an anti-post bet ages ago.
Sure, why would I change your mind then?
Yeah, well, sure you can change
Hold
your
up
mind.
now.
It's okay.
Changed your mind on Bob last week.
You change your mind more than the weather. Santa here follows her home. I think I liked what he's done this season. He's followed home Sharjah twice, and he followed Honeysuckle home then last time at the Dublin Racing Festival. So I think at 16 to 1, I think he's a good each way bet.
Andrew, have you any outsider? Because it's pure honeysuckle, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like it. I adopt a theory: if you're scooping around in the without market, you should leave a race alone and just go back and watch it. So I think Honeysuckle win. I think Appreciate it's the best horse in behind, and to echo what Andrew said, I think I'd back Zana here ahead of Tiupo, but I'd be leaving the race alone. Hopefully the mare does it again.
All honeysuckle, so yeah. Simple as. Quite simple. The Mayor's Hurdle.
Adrian, how are you?
I'm alright.
Champion hurdle.
Champion, you forgot about him.
Yeah, I'm going on to the Mayor's now. Is that okay?
No, do you want, I didn't.
Didn't go to Gavin.
You forgot about
He
Gavin.
said honeysuckle, sure.
I know, I only said to Tom about just.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're
Apologies.
grand, you're grand. It's just, your dad was saying to me earlier on, he's not sure how to do betting, right? What's your dad's name? Andy. So to understand betting, Andy, if you have a tenner each way on Zana here at 16 to 1, you lose 20 quid. It had to be said, don't back Zana here, whatever you do.
Bastard.
Thank God for you, Gavin.
That's an old one, but sure, it's a goodie. Look, it's very hard to see the mare beat. She's rated 172, and you always have to allow the allowance. So she's 165 plus 7. So she's rated 172. Appreciate It is 160. He probably never got to expand on that because hasn't run since the Supreme. Tiupu is 160. Got a racing post rating of 165 for winning by 11 lengths in Gorham Park. He's a similar profile to Esper Dallin, who won the Champion Hurdle in 29. People back then, including me, said that 5-year-olds couldn't win the Champion Hurdle. He absolutely bolted up by a record margin. I think it was 15 lengths. His record going into the Champion Hurdle was 7 out of 8. Tiupu was 6 out of 7. I think the first three will be... I hope the mare wins. I think she will. Hopefully Henry's horse, they seem to be getting back to their best. So, but Appreciate It and Tiupu to follow her home, yeah.
Well, Tiupu should be 5 out of 7. That right there.
No comment.
On to the Mayor's. This is a signer for me, isn't it, Dave? Isn't it? This is just a signer. Because I had the anti-post favourite for a while.
Don't talk to me about that now.
Since she decided to jump shadows at Leopardstown.
We've got past Fernie Hollow without getting upset as well. So
Another one Dave nearly killed this year.
I've had a bad few months.
You're calling Josh the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I need to rename myself.
Yeah, she did jump shadows, though, in fairness. Andrew, you're keen on Tell Me Something Girl.
Yeah, I honestly think this is one of the best bets of the whole festival. This is a poor race that's going to be run like a 5-furlong sprint. There's so many front runners, and this is ridiculous. You've Stormy Ireland, you have Bernard Victory who won from the front the last day. You've Heaven Help Us goes in the front. I just think this is going to be set up for Tell Me Something the Girl to side down 2 furlongs out and win. I just think she done the same thing last year in the Mayor's Novice. Magic Days went off like the clappers in front. She came there swinging on the bridle. The rest of them were getting sick coming up the hill, and she won very handily. Her form this year has more or less been the same coming into it as last year. She was placed last time at Leopardstown, finishing 3rd behind Royal Kahala and Heaven Help Us. I have no doubt in my mind she'll reverse that form. I think Royal Kahala will probably go to the stairs. So we take her out. That's probably the main danger to me out, and I think she's a great bet at 3 to 1.
Tom, Heaven Help Us has been beaten 90 lengths in 5 rounds, and you think she wins the Mayor's? Are you real, like?
Heaven help us. Yeah. Well, look, if you go back to her Cheltenham form, She actually broke her maiden at Cheltenham when she went off at 33 to 1. She was then 7th in a Supreme with her form like it was. She was 100 to 1 shot. She'd no right to be 7th in a Supreme at all. And then she comes back for the Coral Cup last year and she wins by 9 lengths. Just to put that into a bit of perspective, the next 13 horses were covered by 9 lengths. You're not meant to go to Cheltenham and win a handicap by 9 lengths. Like, it just rarely happens. She's gone back there this year in the International. I thought she ran well. It just wasn't her gig. Very close form with Tell Me Something Girl and Royal Kahada at Leopardstown. She definitely saves her best for Cheltenham. I think she'd be fresh enough going there now, even after the last day. And I think somehow that's put a bit of value back into her price. And she's 10 to 1. I think she's a good bet.
There's a first mention of it for the night.
Yeah, good value.
Dave, Queensbrook ran once at the festival, 3rd behind Fernie Hollow and Appreciated in a bumper. You like her?
Yeah, I do. She's my pick for this. I wouldn't be with Andrew with Tell Me Something Girl.
Trained
I'd be
by
more,
the Bromhead shot.
I'd be more on
Like
Tom's side with Heaven Help Us. But it will be run fast. I think Queensbrook will be sitting in behind. Her run against Burning Victory the last day, she'll come on a lot for that. Her season last year, I know Tom actually liked her last year for the Mayor's Novice. Kind of season went to pot, but her form at Cheltenham the year before in the bumper behind Fernie Hollow and Appreciated is pretty decent form, and I just think she's going to be peaking at the right time. Trainer won it last year as well, so quite happy with her each way.
Dara, if you owned a Royal Kahala, would you run her here or would you run her in the stairs?
I think I'd have to run her in the stairs, but in saying that, you could see if they did kind of go towards this race, the lad said that this is another poor grade 1, but I don't know what I'd like to be after buying a spectating ticket the way they're going on about these grade 1s Tuesday, but I think Tell Me Something Girl, I thought she was really eye-catching in Leopardstown the last day. She was a bit unlucky. She didn't get the clearest of runs, just the way it worked out. But I think this race will suit her. There's plenty of pace in it. So I think she's progressing well and she handles the track well. But I definitely think Royal Kahala would be better going further. But in saying that, with Concertista won't be there and stuff, so she'll be going for the Mayor's Chase. So you could see if they did run Royal Kahala here, but she looked like in Gorn the last day that she loved that trip and stuff. One here that I think could outrun her odds a bit is Mrs. Milner, Mare of Paul Nolan's. She won a handicap there.
I was just about to introduce Paul Nolan to the
You've
the
got a
table.
friend on your right now, Darren.
Look how giddy he's getting.
The
Look at him.
smile on his
Look how
face.
Giddy here now, look.
Yeah, so I thought she won around Limerick this year. She won a Mayor's Listed race in Limerick. Probably wasn't the greatest race in the world, but thought she was very good in Cheltenham last year, winning the Pertemps. Beating the Boss's Oscar. She picked up well. She liked the track, and again, I'd say they'll probably. I did an interview or a preview night with Paul Nolan, the way they said that they'll probably ride her to run well, and she could, the way the race will plan out. But I think Tell Me Something Girl will be very hard to beat here.
Andrew, give us the insight on Miss Milner, will you?
Well, I wish I had much, but no, I think they're very happy with her. They backed off her after November in Newbury. She didn't run up to expectations there for one reason or another. It was a strange race. I think she has, as Dara says, I think she's got a very good chance in this. Actually, I think it's an average enough race. Obviously, it's a competitive race. I wouldn't be with Tell Me Something Girl myself. I just can't get my head around it, to be honest. I was quite keen with Tom's angle on Heaven Help Us, but there's been a few too many enough runs this year, and also I think she probably wants it out on her own by herself, and I think Stormy Ireland's going to upset that. So it'd be interesting to see what Danny Mullins rides out of the two, because I'd say he has the choice of the two. So it'd be interesting to see that. But no, I think Brian Cooper will probably be on Mrs. Milner. He'll hunt away and come home pretty strong. I don't think she'll be done for pace. She's a speedy mare. She got out of a lot of trouble in the Pertemps last year because she had a lot of tactical pace. And I know probably on form figures on what she's achieved so far, she has to improve to go and run well in a Grade 1. But I think they're very happy with her. She's very fresh and well at home. And I think at around 10, 12 to 1, she's probably a pretty good each way bet.
Gavin, view on the Mayor's Hurdle?
Yeah, it's an open contest. We've no superstars like a Quavega, Vroom Vroom Mag, Apples Jade, Benny Didiu, Honeysuckle. Some fantastic mares have won this race. There's no superstar in it this year, maybe. Stormy Ireland's the highest rate at 150. But again, you have the worry about Heaven Help Us taking her on. She did get a solo in the Rel Keel. Brewing up a storm fell at the last, but as we seen there the other day, she still probably would have beaten him, even though most people probably thought she wouldn't have. One thing to remember from Christmas, Tell Me Something Girl, flashed home to be third, got slightly blocked at the bend, nothing major. Stayed on, that carried 11.9. It gave £5 to Royal Kahala just ahead of it, and it gave £8 to Heaven Help Us. Like, that's a lot, and obviously she's going to be level weights this time. Also to remember that, what was I going to say? Heaven Help Us, she won the Coral Cup last year off 138, and it was, she had put on cheek pieces for the first time in Leopardstown in the Handicap Hurdle, and again at Cheltenham. And then most of this winter, they kept the cheek pieces off, but they put them back on for the Irish Champion Hurdle. So I thought there might be a slight edge there, but there's not going to be because she's already worn them. So on the basis that herself and Stormy Ireland take each other on, I'd go for maybe Tell Me Something Girl. But again, another example, she'll be bigger than 3 to 1 on the day. 3 to 1's a terrible price at the moment. She'll definitely be 4 to 1. She'll love the fast run race like she had last year, as we said earlier, with Magic Days. And the one that Dave said there, Queensbrook, she gave Burning Victory £3 in Punchestown recently. Mark Boylan, who works the Race and Post, was chatting to him, and he said the Gordon's quote before the race in Punchestown was that she'd come on a ton for the run. So she definitely has a chance. She was third in a very good bumper a couple of years ago behind Fernie Hollow and Appreciate It. So I'd go for maybe Tell Me Something Girl each way. I think she'd be 4 to 1 on the day. And if you have to, maybe Queensbrook at a bigger price.
So down the line, Gavin's going Tell Me Something Girl. Andrew, Tell Me Something Girl. Dave, Queensbrook. Tom, Heaven Help Us. Dara is Tell Me Something Girl as well, is it, Dara?
If you'll ride her, Andrew, I think I'll go with her, yeah.
Yeah, no bother. And what about you, Andrew? Miss Milner, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
Right, there's 3 other races on day 1. Where will I start?
Here we go.
There's only one place to start. So there's a 22 runner race. It's the Boodles Fred Winter.
He has a fucking French hat. Look at it.
Here. What the
What does it say?
There's only one way this Boodles goes.
Who's there?
So there's a 22 runner.
What the hell is going on here?
That's the name of a sire.
He hasn't
Get
been
better than this.
he hasn't been seen since he got off the ferry to come to Ireland in the first place on a course. But the banker of the week, according to Tom Rain, I'll leave you make a show of yourself on this one now.
Where were you hiding the hat?
Thanks. Down the bag. Wait to see what else is in there.
Can't say so.
Yeah, look, Gaelic Warrior for me is the bet of the week. This is all based around handicap marks. The UK handicapper, in trying to lower the Irish handicaps, also lowered the French. Trying to raise the Irish handicaps, lowered the French ones. So when you had a horse come over from France to the UK, it used to be multiplied its French mark by 2.2. From the start of this year, it's now multiplied. It's now multiplied by 2. So as the racing manager for Rich Ritchie said the other day, they said they'd see if they could get the mark of 139, and if it was honoured, and they came back with 129. Very shocked, as were we, as we found this out with our Zoffany Bay, who you can win a share in later. The marks are much, much lower than expected. He's off 129. Patrick said the other day he's worked very well. When they're buying them, they want to be 140 horses. You then go and look at his French form. In his last run at France, he was the eye catcher for me. The winner went out and won a Grade 3 next time. The second won a Grade 2. The fourth won a Grade 1, with the second in the Grade 1 as well. The form is very, very good. I trust Willie to get one ready. And yeah, I'm really sweet on him. I'll let the lads wind me up first before I come back in with a few points.
I'm not saying that.
Really?
Who wants to tackle him first?
I'm after saying numerous times I hope he wins for you. It's only so
I
Siobhan
got-
gets to go
I
to
got
the
an-
Dominican Republic, but
Jeez, you're gone very
we can't go there. Yeah. No, the family can't go on holiday if this doesn't win. So
he literally said that the other day. His holiday is gone this year if the horse doesn't win.
Has he actually told you, Siobhan, how much he has on this thing?
You're better off not knowing, I'd say.
Oh, you're not knowing.
she is definitely better off not knowing. But I got a fantastic email off a guy called Ian Newby earlier today, which reads, "Hi Tom. When Pinky and Perky," I presume he's replying to these two, "keep telling you about the stats for the Boodles, and how come you haven't told them that Diego the Charmel won it first time out for Paul Nicholls in 2016?
Yeah, but
Now,
he's
there
not-
we go. There's your Stats O'Keefe out the door straight away.
He's not a grade one horse like Ruby said Gaelic Warrior is going to be.
Yeah, he was exactly. So this lad should win even further.
Look, I just think it's a
Does it not worry, in all fairness, all serious, it's 20 runner handicap, 4-year-olds. 22. Handicap, 4-year-olds. Most of them won't be able to jump that well. He's going to have to be able to jump in the dark.
I honestly think Paul can just put him where he wants, basically, and he wins. I'm honestly not. Well, you could be worried about that with any race, basically. You wouldn't back a horse in a handicap if you were that worried.
Yeah, but this is your best bet at the festival.
It is, right? It is my best bet. And a few people said on the show last week that I should cook the two boys a large, humble pie for them to be ready to eat just after this is won. I went one better. I said I'd
no.
get you to something to eat before and during the race, and I thought you would really enjoy
Garlic
this.
bread, it's 100% garlic
So there's a garlic bread for Andrew,
bread. Kids won't go hungry, Case.
and there's a garlic bread for Dave.
It's not cooked.
Go on, garlic bread.
I thought we were getting a Prengard pie.
I still can't believe the hat. I've said to you numerous times I hope he wins. I just gave you the...
I hope it wins for the sake of your marriage.
Yeah. A 22 runner handicap like that with 4-year-olds, it's not for me. I think he's your best bet at the festival. I think there's way better bets. That's my feeling on it.
And look, he was, when I put him up at 5-1, he's getting short now, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
There's a three people on the have tipped up a horse that Dara's going to ride in this. Can you tell us a bit about Dr. Brown Bear?
Gavin stole that on me and Tom.
No pressure, like.
Yeah, you're getting blamed for that, by the way.
We put up Dr. Brown Bear on the Sunday and then you stole him on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And everybody listened to you. No one listens to us.
Up in the ante, rob the tips off the finishing line. Happens every week.
Anyway, Dr. Brown Bear.
Yeah, look, Dr. Brown Bear, he was with Brenda Duke and Sean and Bernardine Mulryan have bought him. He's after 4 runs and he's never won, but I suppose he's always ran, a solid race. He's always kind of bucked out and made the running and kind of, I suppose, he's always run his race. He's plenty of experience. Martin and everyone, I'd say they're still learning about him. He's in off a nice weight, 10-7. He still probably needs a few to come out to guarantee a run. But if he did get in, I suppose he'd be one of the price that and off a nice weight that could run well. But he seems to be schooling well at home and stuff. And you'd be very happy going into a race like that with 22 runners. He's running 3-3-year-old hurdles with 20 runners in basically all of them, so that'll really stand to him. And the favourite obviously looks thrown in, well, that's what everyone's hoping anyway. But you would have liked to seen him run in Ireland, I think, to just it's a different ball game. I think obviously having the 3 runs in France will stand him, but I think it'll be a different ball game from going around Auteuil to 22 runner handicap around Cheltenham. You need luck to go your way, and you often see with them juveniles how green they are. But as I said, he's the right man training him, and on paper he looks thrown in. But I think I'd like to see him to have a run before I'd be backing him. I thought the tide turns caught my eye the other day in Gorham Park. Thought he ran well. I thought he was good in his 3-roll hurdle in Punchestown. He looked very green that day, and he obviously went to Leopardstown then, and he wasn't that far behind Fieldor and Vauban. I thought that was a pretty good run, and I think he's one with 3 runs as well, who has a bit of experience in his hand.
Dara, you've landed a couple of gambles there with Martin Brazel, Punchestown on New Year's Eve, and also in the Thyestes. Do you think that Dr. Brown Bear, there could be a few quid for him between now and Tuesday week?
It's hard to know. You mentioned gambles. I think a lot of that to be. I think when people nowadays, when they're looking at the paper and they see a few quid coming for a horse, I'd say a lot of people would just, jump on the bandwagon and back it anyway. But I think if he gets in, he could run a nice race. But I think he has to up his game to be trouble, to be bang there. Going off form and stuff. But we like him at home and stuff. And as I said, I think the experience will stand him.
So when Miss Miller wins, Andrew, does HMSC horse win later on?
Look, he's one of plenty that's probably pretty well handicapped in that race. Look, the Mullins favourite could hold all the aces, but you can make a case for 10 or 12 of them. I think HMSC horse is well in off 128. He's got £9 swing with the tide turns for 2.5 lengths. A couple of months ago, Punchestown. I think he's improved since then as well. I think Champion Green as well, right at the bottom. I suspect he'll run for Joseph off 125. Probably sneak in as well. He might be worth a few each way quid, but you're not going to get rich quick backing 5-2 shots in 22 runner handicaps at Cheltenham.
You listening, Tom?
That's why I backed him at 5-1 instead.
There's 2 other handicaps on day 1. Anyone have any views on either the Ultimate or the National Hunt Chase?
I've won back for the National Hunt Chase, an English horse, and we haven't mentioned many English horses. I know Andrew will like Run Wild Fred. Of the favourites, him and Statler, I think he would be the better horse. I'm not sure Statler will stay. But I've backed Pat's Fancy, Rebecca Curtis's horse. She won it a couple of years ago with another horse called T for 3. Quite a similar profile. Had Randy Albert Bartlett the year previous. Couple of 3-mile chases around Chepstow, so quite a similar profile, and it's an each way price about 16-1.
Just a couple of things. In the Ultima, if the ground ended up proper soft, Paul Byrne has sold Noble Yates to the Whaley Cones, and it's going to go in the English National. Good horse, well handicapped off 148. If the ground ended up soft, he'd have a little squeak in the Ultima. In the National Hunt Chase, I don't have anybody bets in running here, but on the ropes, he won the Munster National, jumped really well. He was towards the front of the field that day. And since then, he's actually jumped quite poorly, Leopardstown, Gorn Park, etc. I just think maybe if he got to the front and got into the rhythm that he got into in Limerick, maybe he won't, but just if he jumped the first 6, 8, 10 fences in the race really well, he'd definitely stay really well. The Thyestes is going to work out fine. He was 5th in that off 151. Just maybe in running on the ropes in the National Hunt Chase.
I think Vanillier in the National Hunt Chase. I think the trip is really key to him here. No, he's been a little bit disappointing in his last couple of runs. But I suppose you could arguably say that his runs before winning the Albert Bartlett were on something similar. He remember on his previous run before he won the Albert Bartlett, like he was down the field, and he even got beaten in Limerick at Christmas time as well. But I think this race will really suit him. I think Derek O'Connor is the way they were talking during the week is going to be riding him, and you couldn't have a better man on board in a race like that. So I think he's really interesting. I think he'd have a lot of class in a race like that, and I think he's a horse that seems to come to form in the springtime. So I think he's interesting.
There's 2 actually I like in the Boodles. The first one Dara touched on was the tide turn. I put him up anti-post in our anti-post videos at 12s. He's now 5-1. To me, he's run in the right kind of races this season. He was behind in the Grade 1 at behind Vauban at Leopardstown. To me, that reads very good form. I think he got a lovely ride off Derek O'Connor at Gorn the other day to get his qualifying run. And to me,
Dennis O'Regan.
What?
Dennis O'Regan.
Dennis O'Regan. What did I say?
Derek.
Derek O'Regan. Dennis O'Regan at Gorn the last day. His win in the Hollywoodbets maiden hurdle at Punchestown was good. He looked green as grass. He hit the front and he won very well. According to the owners, he was only about 8% ready that day. So I think there's a lot more to come out of him. The other one is Noel Mead's Lunar Power. He's been behind Phil Dorr twice this season, and he's beat Barisca's Gordon Elliott by 6 lengths on his debut over hurdles at Leopardstown. I think he could run at a big race at 16-1.
There we go. That's day 1 over. Let's move on to day 2. The opening race of day 2 is the Ballymore. It's kind of strange, isn't it? We don't know what Willie's going to run in Supreme, and does whichever one does him run into Supreme become the leader of this?
Yeah. I'm the same here. I'd go for whatever Willie. I think Willie's got the best 2 novices in Sir Gerhard and Dysart Dynamo. I think either of them could run in either race and either would win. So yeah, keep it simple really. Whichever one Willie runs again.
Not unless we go to Tremor form, Dave. Whether he runs or not, I don't know. That's a joke we have in the podcast text group that El Fabiolo, Willie Mullins' horse that won at Tremor, is 80-1 with a bookmaker.
Bet365 other bookmakers are available.
I didn't say it. Whether he runs or not, I don't know. But if he did run the race, he'd be a good each-way price. But more than likely, I think Dysart Dynamo will run here. He'd be doing. For me, it's not as competitive as the Supreme. Definitely, when you go through the runners that won't be in it, it doesn't look the best race. Willie Mullins probably holds the key. I like Ginto or Ginto, however you pronounce it. But I just think he's a 3-miler and he would win the Albert Bartlett. So I'll go for Dysart Dynamo.
Gavin?
I'd say the same as the lads. Whatever Willie runs here, I see there in the exchanges, Sir Gerhard is out to 7-2 and Dysart Dynamo is into 9-2. So it seems like nobody knows what's happening. But I'd imagine Sir Gerhard will go here. Just to say, with staying, the two of them have never ran this trip yet on the track. Although Dysart Dynamo did win a bumper over 2-2 on soft ground in Clonmel, and Sir Gerhard beat Manila Drama by 12 lengths in a 3-mile point-to-point. So I think the two of them will say, Dara's probably right, we can't call them poor grade ones. It's a good race, but I've seen better Ballymores, to be honest. I wouldn't be with Journey with me. I see Walking Air is out to 30 on Betfair. There's Ginto winning in Nace. He's going to be a fantastic 3-mile chaser in time, but I'd imagine Willie win it, whichever one of the two.
Is it that simple?
It might be. It's a hard one. I think Mullins is trying to fashion up a Ballymore horse out of one of these two, when really, if we're looking at ourselves, both of them should be running in the Supreme. I don't think there's almost any reason why either of them should run in the Ballymore other than he wants to split them up. I'd say Sir Gerhard's probably the more versatile of the two. I know he's just on the screen there. I think Ginto is a criminally underrated horse, actually. I think we haven't got anywhere near the bottom of him yet. He just keeps finding. Everyone has just already put him down as being slow. I don't think he is. So I see he's around 6-1 or something like that. He might represent a bit of, if you want to back each way at that sort of price, I wouldn't put anyone off it. Journey with Me, he's probably a better horse than he's shown at Nace, but probably on the back of that, he probably has a little bit to find.
Darren, any strong view on it?
Yeah, sure. Look, whatever Willie runs, obviously, is going to go off favourite. This could actually cut up because, Constitution Hill and Jambon are definitely going to go to the Supreme. I think Ginto is a bit under the radar as well. A few people have said he's workman-like, but he still keeps winning. And, he's only been beaten once in a bumper. And besides that, he's won. And I'd say he loved the track. He'll come up the hill really well. And I think Journey With Me is after slipping under the radar as well. You know, people were saying a while ago that Kilcross could be a good each way bet in a Supreme Novices, and you know, I think Journey With Me and Kilcross went at it in Leopardstown, and I think Journey With Me definitely came out. You know, he definitely outstayed him and everything, and I think you could forget about his run the last day in Naas. Like, they were obviously trying to, you know, settle him in behind a few horses, but I actually rode in the race myself, and like, we literally trotted over 3 hurdles, and he went to the front in, and you know, you could arguably say that a stronger run race will really suit him. I think he's one that will really power up the hill, and look, he looks a bit unexposed, I suppose. You know, he hasn't run in a grade race or anything like that, but I think whichever Willie's horses will run will probably win, but I think they'll be very short, and I think Journey With Me would be my one for an each way chance.
Andrew?
Yeah, I really like Journey With Me in this as well. If you go back to his maiden hurdle, he beat Manila Crooner and Kilcrush. Manila Crooner has since been second in a Grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Festival, and Kilcrush kind of got back to himself the last day and win by 21 lengths. I just like the way he goes about it. There's nothing flashy about him. I think he's a good stayer. The step up and trip again is going to suit, I think, and a strong run race, I think, will really suit him. Yeah, there's a lot to like about him. I know Willie Mullins will probably run Sir Gerhard or Dicer Dynamo here, but I think a 6 to 1. I think 6 to 1's a great each way bet for him, so I can't see him being out the top 3.
There we go. Any other views on it? No. Heartbreaking, Andrew, isn't it? The Brown Advisory. Galopin des Champs.
It's not, because Galopin is drifting again. All my dreams are coming true. Look, to me, this is where Galopin des Champs should go. He's a Grade 1 winner over 3 miles at the Punchestown Festival last year. I think the clue is in the name. I think all he does is he has this galloping speed. He just keeps going relentlessly. He's a very good jumper. I think we haven't seen anywhere near the best of him yet. He wasn't as spectacular at the Dublin Racing Festival than he was to his beginner's chase at the same track around Christmas time. But I think back at Cheltenham, back on a bit of better ground, I think the race for him is this, and if he runs, nothing will beat him. Brave Man's Game will get sick when he sees the hill. I think he's just a flat track bully. He's probably the best jumper in training. I just think you go back to his run last year behind Bob Oliver in the Ballymore. He was upsides and coming down, he was 2 out, and he was nearly chinned by Galliard at Mesnil. I can't have him at all at Cheltenham. To me, he reminds me of a horse like Silviniaco Conti. He loves flat tracks. When he comes to Cheltenham, he just gets sick. You can see him here there at Kempton. He beaten a high senior, who I also wouldn't rule out of reversing the form with him now at Cheltenham. As I said, at Brave Man's Game, probably the best jumper in training, but I don't think he likes Cheltenham at all. So Galopin, if he runs here, I think he'll take the world of beating.
Tom, you're really in disagreement, aren't you?
That's an absolute disgrace to compare Brave Man's Game to Silviniaco Conti.
What, because you don't agree?
What's that?
Just because you don't agree? This is a ridiculous statement. Let's go back to the ridiculous statements coming out of Tom Rain's mouth.
I think that's an appalling thing to say to a future Gold Cup winner.
Silviniaco Conti was a good horse, in all fairness.
He was all right. He wasn't a Gold Cup winner.
He wasn't all right.
How many King Georges did he win?
King Georges.
How many King Georges did he win?
Exactly.
2, I think.
Jesus Christ, you're a hard man to get a horse from France that's finished third and you're happy.
Now,
but get gold.
Dara,
stop the lights, will you?
Some of those were bad Grade 1s that he won, Dara. I have to say that. No, I think Brave Man's Game for me in this.
What do you want?
On what?
Silviniaco Conti.
On what? Because Galopin des Champs, as much as you don't want it to happen, because you started the Bob Olinger fan club and now you've deserted it. You're like Roman Abramovich handing the reins over to someone else with the Bob Olinger fan club.
Angry.
He's going. Shut up, you. Shut up, you down there.
You've only one more day to wait.
I will never allow back in Henry de Bomber's yard ever again.
Galopin des Champs is a keen going sort. He's run over 2 mile 5 twice this year. He's going for the Turners. Okay, so that's that sorted.
He won a Grade 1 over hurdles last year at Punchestown, running through hurdles, and he bolted up.
You said a massive key word there in that sentence: hurdles.
3 miles is 3 miles.
It's not. Dara will tell you that as well.
Can I just say there, lads, Silviana Conti won 16 races.
Keep going, Dara, please.
Yeah.
Keep going, Dara. Go on.
You may say
Come on,
it
Dara,
to
keep
Tom.
going. Come on, Tom.
Don't
Now
say it
listen
to everyone.
Dara.
Say it to Tom.
Listen, Tom. Listen to what Dara's saying.
He won over $1 million in prize money. So if any at the table are telling me you wouldn't like to have owned him,
He was only okay. An
And you're
okay
on-
horse.
Only okay.
according
You're
to
telling
Tom.
me. You're telling me that's a ridiculous statement. Someone sit down
He
with
won
it.
loads of times a haydock as well. Like.
Haydock, yeah.
yeah,
Bad grade ones, though, yeah. Easy prize money in the UK. Look, Brave Man's Game for me, I think he wins. I do think Gallopin will go for the Turners. Brave Man's Game has beaten Ahoy Senor, albeit at Kempton. I still think he'd beat him again. Lahan Presse is going to finish a tailed off third in the Turners, and after that, it's not a great race. So, look, for me, this is all about Brave Man's Game.
Gavin, help me.
Tom, I'm only doing this for a laugh, right? What I'm about to say.
Go on, Gavin.
Don't take this me being mean-spirited, right? But Silvia Conti, just he had a highest official rating of 177. So at the moment he's actually 13 pounds better than Brave Man's Game. But anyway, it's only for the laugh.
That's unlike you, Tom, to say something like that, I have to say.
Look, Gallopin de Champs looks a brilliant horse. If he goes here, I'd love him. What's interesting, I was on a panel with Ruby last Friday and I asked him a question. I said, he was saying that Gallopin has got so much speed, the 2.5 will definitely suit him in the Turners, and that's probably correct. Ruby's usually right. And I just said to him, do you think, will he stay a Gold Cup trip next year? And Ruby always gives, proper answers, and he just thought about it for a minute. He says, I'm not so sure. He said, for him to win a Gold Cup, he's going to have to change his running style. He can't be so aggressive out in front if he's going to stay at 3 mile 2 and a little bit. He's going to have to be held up next year. So I just find it interesting that they don't maybe use the Brown Advisory as a trial to sit him behind a high senior and get him to relax and to become more mature. So if they run him in the Turners, which they probably will, again, you're drilling him in a 2.5 mile race. So anyway, it's just an interesting topic or conversation. Brave Man's Game wins the handicap of 159, has an official rating of 164. A high senior will definitely make up some of the ground from Kempton. Kempton wasn't his track at all. He was beaten by 7.5 lengths by Brave Man's Game. His jump on the last day in Weatherby was fine. He's still just a little bit clueless, where Brave Man's Game is just an exceptional jumper. He looks like he'll never fall. Reluctantly, I'll go for Brave Man's Game, but I won't have a bet in the race.
He's definitely going to fall now, isn't
famous
he?
last words. Turn upside down, going out to the first.
It's going to be Envoy Allen all over again.
Dave, I presume you're back in Galliard, Damon Neal each way. Yeah?
I'm not. See, the two lads have their heart and their money invested in Brave Man's Game on that side and Gallopin de Champs on that side. For what it's worth, I like both horses, but if I had to choose one, I'd pick Gallopin de Champs. I do think he'll run here. But I'm going to go for Ahoy Senior each way. I think he'll be bigger on the day. I think he will turn the form around with Brave Man's Game. The race at Kempton that Brave Man's Game won, and I like Brave Man's Game, he's a great jumper. The last 10 or 12 winners of that race that have ran in the RSA, or what is the old RSA, have not won the race. They've not gone on to win the race. So Cheltenham will definitely be Ahoy Senior's track. It's 1-1 against Brave Man's Game. He beat him at Aintree last year over hurdles when he was a total outsider. So it's not outside the realms of possibility to turn that form around. So I'll go for Ahoy Senior each way.
Any view, Andrew?
No, not much. I think Gallopin, if he was to turn up here, I think he's the best of the lot of these. I've got a little bit of an issue with Brave Man's Game's effort off the bridle. I think he's a little bit, he reminds me slightly of what Cobden does on Surname, where he travelled on the steel a lot and he travels very strongly, and there's a lot of races he's going to win and a lot of good races he'll win. And if you were to ask me for the King George winner next year, he'd be the one. But I just think at Cheltenham over 3 miles, he might empty a little bit up the hill. I'd be with Dave. If Gallopin wasn't in the race, I think Ahoy Senior, he's mad as anything, but he's got an awful lot of ability, and Lucinda Russell's had a very good year with her horses. So if he was to run, I think he'd have a good chance.
There we go. There's a bit of breaking news. It looks like Energamine is out of the champion chase. That's if you were to listen to Betfair and the exchanges, can be back now at 9.2. So that's not looking good.
Willie's lads have done a good job this time. They smashed the mare on Betfair. I'd say they got a bollocking on Monday morning. They've drip-fed the money into Betfair for Energamine. So they've done a good job, in fairness to them.
Look, if that's true, that's disappointing. You wanted to see the rematch.
It does look that way. Who would have won?
Shishkin. I think everything is for to suit him here. The track, the hill, the extra distance. Look, I was against him for going on 2 years. I didn't like him in the Supreme. I didn't like him in the Arkle. But I have to hold my hands up and say this thing is an exceptional horse. He's a horse that is not perfect in ways. He throws in the odd wobbly jump. He comes off the break. He's Altior-esque per se. I think it'll take a monster performance to beat him. And if Energamine is out, I don't think there's anything in it that'll touch him.
Gavin?
Yeah, look, Shishkin's a special talent. He's going to be better, as you said, Andrew, a little bit better left-handed. Energamine would have been slightly better right-handed. It's 188 yards shorter than the Ascot race, which will suit possibly Energamine, but he won't get the solo that he got maybe in Ascot. He might be hassled for the lead. That's if he does run. Hopefully he does. Shishkin's just a brilliant racehorse. You see him here turning in, he looks beat. I think Energamine traded at 6 or 8 to 1 on, not surprisingly. Shishkin has a good record in Cheltenham. He's won the Arkle. He's won how he won the Supreme was a miracle. He just shows he's a bit like Hurricane Fly. He just has this attitude that he just would. What do you call your man that used to play for Liverpool? I said he'd bite you to beat you.
Luis Suarez.
But he just wants to win. Like, he puts the head down. Watch here after last. He's a fantastic racehorse. He's going to end up a very, very short price. But I'd say if the race is run, if it's a fast run race, which will be, perhaps Nube Negra might sneak into second or third, but I wouldn't be in love with him. He's Spanish anyway. And look, Shishkin should win, yeah. Sorry, just to say, I'd be against Shaq and Persois. If he couldn't win it with the perfect run up the rail last year at the age of 9, he's not going to win it at 10. So.
Yeah, I'd be against Shakan as well, and it'd be disappointing if Energamine is not running. Shishkin's the most likely winner. If you're into backing horses and running, I'd say back Nube Negra in running. He'll probably travel like the best horse in the race. Top of the hill, he'll be on the bridle, and Shishkin does throw in a wobbly spot. Shishkin will probably win by 10 lengths if Energamine is not there, but I don't know, Nube Negra will probably follow him home if Energamine is not there.
It's disappointing, isn't it, that the match might be on?
Yeah, it is. And look, these things don't really lie on Betfair, do they? So I imagine it is correct. I'll keep it simple. Shishkin will win it. I imagine he'll go off about 1 to 3, I'd say now.
Any views, lads, now? No?
Not particularly. I'd agree with them. I think Shishkin wins. I'm probably Shakan Poursois' biggest fan in the world, and even I can't really see it happening. If it was around Leopardstown, he'd have a grand chance, but those 2 runs in England would have to leave a fair bit to be desired. So I think Shishkin's a proper racehorse and will win.
There we go. The champion chase. Are we covering the cross country, Andrew, are we?
Keep going. Tiger Roll runs anyway.
Tiger Roll. What about the bumper? The second coming was Kilcroat last year. The new coming is Facile Vega.
Yeah, it's a good race. The bumper. I think the front 2 are probably a fair bit clear. I know people are going to try put up each way angles into the race because Mullins has 5 or 6 that are going to run. James's Gate, Redemption Day, all of whom are pretty impressive. I just think I can't get over, and I know sometimes you can't read into it, but I can't get over how bullish Gordon Elliott and Jamie Codd are on American Mike, even after Facile Vega won. They Can't wait to take him on. The Mary beat it at Navan by 20 lengths. Was only a nose down in the Grade 2 Mares Bumper at Leopardstown. So with the two of them at the prices they are, and especially the way the race has gone the last couple of years, where in essence I know Sir Gerard ended up being trained by Willie, but it was Gordon's horse. I'd back American Mike at the prices at the moment. Just to shout out, I think Joya Machan will run very well at a big price, but there's probably only going to be 3 places, so he might come 4th or 5th.
Dara, will you ride James's gate if he goes?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure what the plan is with him yet, but yeah, he looked visually very impressive the last day in Punchestown. You know, the ground was heavy, but you know, and he sprinted up the straight, but what was in behind him is hard to know. But you know, he's definitely open to a lot of improvement. He came from Pat Doyle and he really liked him, and you know, Facile Vega looked very impressive in Leopardstown the last day, his last 2 times there. But I agree. You know, I've heard Jamie and Gordon how you know bullish they are about American Mike, and rightly so as well. You know, he's done nothing wrong.
Jamie Codd also said that Ballyadam was the best horse that ever lived. Point that out.
Yeah, well, look, things change over time, but I still think, you know, Willie's come into this race before and had a favourite, like you see it last year and stuff, where, you know, one of his other ones could come out and beat him, and you know, rightly so as well, because a few of them are only after 1 run, so they could be open to improvement. But I think it'll be a very good race, and but I do think James Gate, if he does run, I think he'd have an each way chance, but you know, it'll be hard to split Facile Vega and American Mike.
Gavin, your view on the bumper?
If Energamine doesn't run the champion chase, this could end up being the race of the week. Just some fantastic horses for the future. I'll go for American Mike. The vibes are very, very strong. Jamie Codd is very bullish. Be Royal Romeo, Dead Heat at Saints Battling Bessie, we've mentioned. The last 2 winners of the Dublin Racing Festival bumper, Appreciated and Kilcroat, were both second at Cheltenham. Nothing wrong with Facile Vega, brilliant racehorse, as we know. His mum was some article. Redemption Day looks like a really fast horse. He could end up winning a listed race over 1.5 miles in the flat. He looks very, very fast. But the vibes are very strong on American Mike, so he'll do for me.
Tom?
Yeah, it's one of these. It's a real talking race, isn't it? This Facile Vega's been very visually impressive, and Willie had come out and said how good he was before he even ran. American Mike, as this lad said, Gordon doesn't seem to be worried about any horse when it comes to American Mike. And then I read today that apparently Patrick said to Jamie when they pulled up after one of the Facile Vega wins that he said, "I've got a better one at home in Redemption Day." So who knows at this stage? For me, it's just a watching brief, but it looks like a very, very good renewal of the bumper.
Dave, Milton Harris can't upset the apple cart, can he?
No, Facile Vega for me. I like American Mike as well, but I think Facile Vega, I know Gavin said the last 2 winners of that bumper were beaten at Cheltenham, but his performance was it was magnificent. We were up there watching it. Tom thought he was actually beaten down the back straight. Tom's infamous line, "I'm a bit windy about this one."
I did the classic that you should never do, and I was on the Get Out stakes in the bumper, and I had a bit too much than I should have. Siobhan, close your ears. On Facile Vega in the bumper, and I said to Dave down the whack, I said, "I'm a bit windy about this, lad."
There was a mile left. I'm a bit windy about this.
The thing was as hard on the bridle as you'd get. Now, I did celebrate as he turned into the straight, but no, he's a very good horse.
But yeah, it looks a really good race. I know people will say Sander Clegane, who was second to Facile Vega the last day, was beaten. He's probably run back too quickly, and I don't think he was given the best ride.
I can tell you that wasn't his form.
Yeah,
I can tell you.
I was going to say Andrew will probably be able to touch on that.
Your dad told you that, did he?
Yeah, exactly. My adopted.
Yeah, I don't think he was given the best ride. They could have made more use of him. Probably ran him back too quickly as well. I think Facile Vega is the horse to take out.
Jockey's fault again. Right, that completes
Felix
day
just
2
walked in
unless
there.
there's something else, Gavin.
No, just to say that I think as racing fans, if we all had to pick one horse to win for the week is Tiger Roll. If the ground ends up good to soft, good in places, they don't water the middle of the racecourse. If it ends up decent ground, he's literally the bet of the week. But it'd just be brilliant if he won for racing, to be honest.
Tom is the only person that doesn't want Tiger Roll to win.
Oh, yeah.
I've backed.
Another French horse.
Yeah,
The
look,
Grinch.
Literally tries to find a reason for him to lose every year.
I backed Prengard, and it worked with Easy's Land. But I have backed Prengard. I thought he was a little bit disappointing last day. I know he was only out for a
It's
run
hard,
round.
Star. How could you not want Tiger Roll?
He was
to win?
only beaten 74 lengths, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was. He was off the bridle way, but down the back. I'd actually be surprised if he runs. I'd be surprised if Delta Work runs. Tiger Roll wins, lads.
Right, we have a couple of specials. We're going to go to Andrew.
Should have gone on that 7-1 when I told you.
Thanks to Hollywoodbets. Andrew, what are you offering?
So day 1, we are enhancing Sir Gerhard to win the Supreme and Edward Stone to win the Arkle, enhance the 14-1. If my internet would work, I can tell you what the rest of them are. We are enhancing Honeysuckle to 7-10. And we are enhancing Brave Man's Game and to win the Brown Advisory, and Tiger Roll to win the cross country 13-2 double. And last one, we are enhancing Facile Vega 5-4 for the champion bumper, all anti-post prices. Rules.
There we go. We're also going to have the raffle. I think you all got tickets. Just to let you know the prizes, there's a 2.5 share in Zoff on eBay, thanks to Tom. Reserved enclosure tickets for the Punchestown Festival. A table for 4 for Ladies' Day at the Tremor Racing Festival. And we also have any match, I take it, Andrew. at
Nah,
Brentford.
Jesus Christ, not any match.
Sure, it has to be. You
It'll
can't
be a
just-
match. It'll be a Brentford match.
Yeah.
In
Is
the
it
fourth.
any match, though?
No.
Okay.
You'll
It'll be a
told.
Brentford match,
It's
then.
tickets to a Brentford game in the Fortress Lounge, which is more or less the VIP lounge, for next season.
There we go. We're going to take a 15-minute break. We happy enough with that? And we'll back you with day 3 and day 4.
Gavin is gone. Wait,
So, Jason, tell me, who'd you love more, Bob Allinger or your wife?
he didn't listen.
Well, lads, there's no Bob Allinger.
That was fast.
Balco the Flow gave me the better day of my life, whether it was a wedding or Balco.
That chap has 3 kids.
Job done. They're not mine, Tom. I reared 2, married to 1. Job done.
He has a serious chance, doesn't he?
Oh, without doubt. Well, look, put it this way, I won't be like Andrew. I won't turn it around a bit and go the wrong way around it, but I will. I look forward to ringing him and texting him when I'm 4 lengths clear, going up the straight, running up the chute. I will video call him, say, buddy, we done it.
Last year was amazing.
Wasn't there, I was in the yard, unfortunately. Would have been there, would have having 2 winners leading up, my 3 winners. But this year we'll take it, yeah.
Best luck to you. Andrew, can you answer that? How the hell can you start the Bob Bollinger fan club and then change the Gallop in the Champs?
Who said I changed?
You did last week. It's on video.
No, here's the thing. Galloping is now drifting, which is the best day. This is. If the two of them turned up,
You're dodging.
hand on heart, I think Galloping would have outstay him.
Boo.
Judas, I'm getting caught.
Rightly
Please move
so.
on. You
Rightly
can please
so.
move on
Crazy.
with me, please. I think if Galpin went up against you shut up and answer the question, Dunphy. If Galpin went up against him, there would not be much in it, but I just think he outstays him up the hill. I think he has a bit more staying power. But look, the two of them are unbelievable horses. Bob Allinger, his cruising speed is ridiculous. Dark will tell us more. He won on him in Gorn. He's a ridiculous horse. His speed is unnatural. I think I think he'd win the Arkle. He's that much speed as well. Look, it's. I just told you why. If you listen, you might hear it. Because I think he'll outstay him. Because I think he outstays him. That's well. No, I didn't say anything about his jumping. I don't think his jumping. I don't think his.
That looks like a
I think he's a
rainbow.
better jumper. I think Gallopin's a better jumper than him. I think Gallopin is more slick. I think there'll be a length if the two of them went against each other.
Dara, you've rode Bob, of course.
Yeah, look, I think Bob Ollinger beats Gallopin all day. I think that Bob Ollinger's been kind of, people have gone on about his jumping and whatnot, and I think it's a load of nonsense if you ask me. He ran everybody's going on about Gallopin Deschamps saying how much he bossed the race in a beginner's chase. He'd want to be bossing the horses that were behind him. There was only 8 runners in it, and the race fell apart halfway down the back. When a few horses took him on the last day in Leopardstown, I didn't think his jumping was as good as it was. But Bob Ollinger's done nothing wrong jumping to suggest that he's going to fall. Or I think he's a grand, clean jumper. I think the pace he has, I can't see Gallopin outstay him. I think Gallopin will go a good gallop, and I think Bob Ollinger will be arriving there, after jumping the second last, and I think he'll pick up and go on away from him. Gallopin beat Master McShee the last day 9 lengths. I think Bob Ollinger beat him 16 in the beginners in Gorn. You can say Master McShee needed a run, but you can arguably say Bob Ollinger needed as well that day. I think Bob Ollinger's run against Capadana was very good, and I think Capadana would have given Gallopin Deschamps. I think he'd have gotten close to him if he didn't part the company with Mark Walsh in Leopardstown the last day. So I think all the nonsense about Bob Ollinger's jumping, I can't. I think it's ridiculous to be listening, to be honest. How impressive he was last year as a novice hurdler, and I think he'll beat Gallopin Deschamps heads down. I think Bob Ollinger will sprint away from him.
What do you think, Gavin?
Say get a taxi.
I think to have a bet, they'll probably go off just, let's say, 2 6-4s and then 9-2 long press. I think if you have to have back one of these, you're either needy or greedy. I don't see a need to have a bet in this race because they're two amazing horses. Long press is very unlucky to end up, if he does end up against those two, because you'd win a lot of what's now called the turners, but to run into the two of them is just two brilliant horses. Certainly 2 of the top 10 horses in training, I'd imagine. Officially, Gallopin Deschamps is 164 at the moment. Bob Ollinger's 160. Some people have cribbed Bob's jumping, that he's a tiny bit slow maybe the last day. I thought his jumping was fine. And now he's not gaining at them, but he's not really losing either. Gallopin lunged at a couple, the first one down the back and also the third last, he lunged at them. I'd imagine if he goes here, he'll be up at the front to use his toe, and he's a dot keen and stuff, but just an exceptional race to watch. As regards which one's going to win, I don't know. I'd probably change my mind 10 times between now and Thursday week, I'd say.
If you were to pick right now, which
lovely. Jesus.
remember you're in Waterford now.
Oh, you're in Waterford, yeah. Well, then
Dead heat.
definitely Gallopin Deschamps. I know. Up Ballygunner. Any Ballygunner fans in? There, look, see. Down, whoever jumps the best on the day will win. I'd say maybe Gallopin, but next week I'll probably say the other one, Bob.
What do you think, Dave?
Well, look at that, no abuse for Gavin. Jesus, shock.
2 really good horses. Bob is definitely the faster horse. His turn of foot the last day, I think it was at Punchestown, was very impressive. Like Gallopin as well. Echo what Gavin said, Long Press is a very good horse, but coming up against, if the both of them go there, coming up against 2 probably superstars in the next year or 2, I would choose Bob. We were out in the stable, and the horses that they have out there, the Grade 1 horses, and I'm obviously not Henry's biggest fan if you watch the podcast, and
Why is that? Yeah?
Yeah, just not. I think Big Gordo and Willie are better
He's miserable,
trainers.
that's why. Miserable.
Big Gordo. I think the two boys are better trainers. But all the Cheltenham winners and so forth out there, the lady that was bringing us around brought us into Bob's stable and said there's the best horse in the yard. And one of the lads said, but sure, you have a champion hurdler here and a Gold Cup winner here. And she said, that's the best horse in the yard.
I tell you, you won't be invited back there after them comments.
But yeah, I would choose Bob if they went up against each other. His turn of foot is exceptional. Sometimes he looks like he's in a little bit of trouble, pretty much like Shishkin, and then the afterjets turn on and he's gone. So, Bob.
Tom, there's no point asking you, is there?
Not really, no, but just Dara, to fill you in on Dave there. He's owned shares in 2 horses in his life, both trained by Henry de Bromhead, and he hates the bloke. It's unbelievable. I don't know what's going on here. Michelin, has he proposed like this before, or is he getting down on one knee again?
I'm glad this has been recorded.
No, I'm glad nobody's mentioned Bob Ollinger's jumping tonight, because the panel were all given a little bit of a word of warning that Dara was on a panel the other day and somebody critiqued Bob's jumping, and let's just say he absolutely annihilated the poor bloke.
His jumping wasn't great the first day, but it was better the second day. Galloping's jumping was great the first day, but wasn't great the second day.
What was wrong with it the first day?
It wasn't great. Just said it.
I was waiting for him to say you were on him.
I was just going to say the jockey.
Could have said that, to be honest. You weren't on his back.
That could have been a lot of it as well. Shit myself going round.
He's going too fast.
No, I think his jumping does improve for better ground, so hopefully a bit better ground as well at Cheltenham. But I know I see it the same way as Dara. I think Rachel is sitting behind Paul on galloping, track him along, and he'll have the better turn of foot, and I think he wins.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with everything Tom said there. I think 2 excellent horses, probably a race you don't need to have a bet in, just sit back and enjoy. And I've flip-flopped on it many times already this season between the 2 of them, but probably in Bob's camp just at the moment.
The Ryanair, is this all about Allaho?
Yep. Pisses in.
Yeah, he should win, but like I'm sure people want to get something each way put up. Okay, they don't. Allaho,
He just
so
wins.
that was easy.
Length. He wins by 10 lengths.
Jesus, this doesn't bode for well for what I'm about to say then. I've actually had a pretty decent bet in this race, which is Janadil to be placed non-runner no bet with Sky Bet at 2-1. I love Hollywood bets.
Actually.
You wouldn't do it last week. You wouldn't do it last week when I asked you to give me 2-1 about it. You still haven't done it.
Tom, turn around. Turn around. What's that say?
I won't. Will you?
Mother of the who pays your bills? Not
Will-
value anyway. Not value. Hollywoodbets.
Will you give the room? Will you give the room 2-1 with Hollywoodbets on Janadil to place in the Ryanair non-runner no bet?
Where in the name?
Come on, Andrew. Go on, Andrew.
How?
You're going to tell him. You'll email him and get it done. Tomorrow morning, anyone who's here, 2-1.
If I can, I will. Not a problem.
There you go, lads. Get on.
You won't run that.
For fuck's sake, Dara.
Dara, pick up the mic and say
Dara
that.
just said he won't run in that race.
So Allaho anyway. Dara, yeah? Allaho?
Yeah, look, Allaho looks. He's been really impressive this year. But you know, he's going to go off short in it. You know, I suppose we haven't really spoke about English horses much this year, but I thought Shamblu was going to be a really impressive winner the last day, only for him falling. You know, the other one I think that if he turns up here, maybe Mellon. You know, I know he's not getting much younger, but I thought he showed plenty spark the other day in Gorn. Mightn't have been the best fields that he beaten, but you know, the ground was really heavy, and I thought he jumped, he showed probably plenty spark, and he's one at a price that, if he did come back to form, he'd have to run well, But I'd say Allaho, listening to all the Mullins camp, they seem to think he's their banker for the week, and after his performance in it last year, it very much looks so.
Andrew, you were telling me at half time that there's a bit of money for Energamine for this race now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know what you can look into the exchanges, but he's drifted markedly.
Lads, give us 2 secs.
He's drifted markedly for the champion chase, and he's come in on the exchanges for the Ryanair. God knows why. Whether he's going to this and whether there's something wrong with Allaho, you can look into it too much. If Allaho runs, he wins. In regards to what Dara said on Chamblou, apparently Dan Skelton is desperate to run this horse in the Ultima, but his owner won't. His owner doesn't want to run in a handicap. He wants to run in a Grade 1 race. I think he'd be a shoe-in of 148, but Allaho wins.
Dara's just finally admitted that this is a bad Grade 1.
Tis gas. This probably looks the most one-sided race in Cheltenham, and the lads haven't said it's a bad Grade 1.
I think the top of the stairs hurdle market has changed more times than Andrew Halligan has bought rounds of drink for the table here tonight. Yeah. Champ, Andrew.
Wow. Well, I put him up at big prices in our anti-post video. It's probably one of the toughest races of the week. Any one of the top 6 in the betting could win. Florin Porter, look, he has his quirks as well as Classical Dream. Champ last time, if you're on Champ last day, you'll be quite disappointed that he got beat by Paisley Park, especially when Paisley Park nearly whipped around and gave him 15 lengths. If you're a racing man and you don't want Paisley Park to win, you're in the wrong game. I'd love to see him win this. His performance the last day was extremely well. But this is a race where I probably would change my mind 3 or 4 times before they get to the actual race. There's a case that can be made for a lot of minutes. Like if Florin Porter is the defending champion. Time Hill is one that probably has to come back to. Classical Dream is Classical Dream. He could bolt up or finish looking like a handicapper. You have Champ, who probably on his chase form probably has the... What?
Wonder. That's another outrageous thing. Another fakir to the read.
Who was that? Classical Dream? He's a nutcase. He could do anything. He'll turn himself into a bloody airplane trying to down himself. Or he'll pull too hard. It depends what side of the bed he'll get out of. Champ probably has the best form, but that's over fences where he chinned Allaho and Manila Indo. But what you can make of that going back over hurdles is another thing. And Paisley Park is Paisley Park. So look, right now I'd probably go with probably Paisley Park, or just what I'd like to see Paisley Park win.
Dave, do you have a sneaky one in this?
I back Florin Porter at bigger prices. I think it was 11 or 12 to 1. I can't have Champ at all. I just can't be backing 10-year-olds to win championship races at Cheltenham. I think it's outrageous. Paisley Park, everyone loves him, but he's a 10-year-old as well.
Lads, calm down a bit, Lee. Jesus.
Classical Dream, I mean, he is what he is. He can be brilliant and he can be absolutely dreadful. Time Hill, for me, too many excuses. Finds a way to lose, like beating the Grade 1 last year at Aintree, beating Roxana. Florin Porter's form in Cheltenham is a lot better than that.
It's a bad Grade 1.
That was a bad Grade 1. The one that worried me for Florin Porter is Royal Kahala. And Dara touched on her running here instead of the Mares. I think it'd suit her better as well. If she ran here, she'd be an each way bet, but otherwise Florin Porter.
Dara, view?
Yeah, look, I thought Florin Porter ran really well considering the way the start happened in Leopardstown the last day. The one worry I would have about him is the crowds. He's a horse that gets really buzzy. There was none of that last year. I think they have to, when he gets, I'd say the way Cheltenham will be this year, crowds will be hectic and everything. But I think it's his race to lose. I think if if he settled and everything, he could give a bold show again. Champ, I was really impressed with Champ on his reappearance this year in Ascot. Probably was a little bit disappointing in Cheltenham the last day, but he's a very, very smart horse. Where we just said a few minutes ago that Allaho was the banker of the week, and didn't Champ beat him in the novice there when they met over fences, and he ended up beating a Gold Cup winner as well. So Champ has really, really good form, and I think he'll run a much better race than he did the last day. Paisley Park, look, it was great for connections and everything. He won the last day, but on his most previous runs prior to the last day, it depends which Paisley Park turns up. I think Royal Cahala, if she turns up here, I think she could really run well. I think the trip will really suit her. I think the good gallop that Florence Porter will suit her, and she's probably the one at an each way price if she did turn up that I'd be going for.
Gavin, Classical Dream has beaten Florence Porter twice. If the real Classical Dream turns up, is he the classiest horse in the race?
Yeah, he's a bit mad. He's the one that caused a false start when he won the Supreme. He broke through the tape, and then it took the genius of Ruby Walsh to make him win the Supreme. Just as regards Champ and Paisley Park being 10, last year 25 of the 28 winners at Cheltenham were aged 8 or less, and 19 of the 23 Irish winners were aged 7 or less. So just...
Gaelic Warriors in that group then, isn't he?
Now, obviously, there's a lot of novice races, and that's younger horses, I accept that. But just still, the 3 older horses that won last year, one won a handicap, the Ultima, the Cross Country and the Fox Hunters. The age thing doesn't matter in those 2 races. So literally out of 26 races, 25 of the winners were age 8 or less. So I can't have Champ and Paisley Park. Time Hill mightn't be good enough. Ruby last Friday made an excellent point that where they start on the new track for the Stairs Hurdle, they walk around the top bend for at least a furlong. You've got the best mate enclosure beside you, and coming down, the start is almost just as you start to go downhill, and you've got Classical Dream and Flooring Porter. Now, Paul Townend will be praying that Classical Dream settles because he doesn't want to lead. And if Danny's on, say, Flooring Porter, he does want to lead. But just Ruby was wondering, will Paul be able to stop Classical Dream? So I think if Flooring Porter gets a solo, he'll be very hard beat. He's 7. He's the youngest of the main horse at the top of the market. But just watch Classical Dream in the first furlong. Is he going to act the maggot? We all saw the start at Christmas where the starter gave Classical Dream free go, and Danny looked back at him, and he lost, say, 8 lengths at it. But if he gets a solo, Flooring Porter for me.
Tom?
Yeah, I think the same as Gavin there. If I had to pick one, it would be Flooring Porter. Interesting to say Danny as well. He said after the last, Flooring Porter hung into the rail, and didn't really help him to go past Classical Dream. Up the hill in Cheltenham, it's wide open. He won't have that to do to hang into. He's a bit of a head case. The lads have been through it. Any of the 5 on their day could win. Gun to my head, I'd pick Flooring Porter, but Paisley Park would be the story of all stories, wouldn't it? So I'd cheer him on as well.
Andrew?
I'd agree with Flooring Porter. I think the start and how the race in the first mile will dictate what happens. Danny Mullins is no finer man to be on a front runner in these sort of races. So if he can get out in front and dictate, I don't see anything getting by him. I don't see how Paisley Park reverses the form from last year. I thought he ran his race last year, came 3rd, ran okay, but I wouldn't be quite as gushy as the guys on the panel. I suppose he can go and win. The connections are great and all that, but it'd be Flooring Porter for me. And I think actually Time Hill's probably the most solid horse in the race. Flooring Porter's a bit of a nutter. Classical Dream's a nutter. Champs in and out. Paisley Park's old. Time Hill's the most likely to actually finish in the 3 and run his race, so he'd be the solid option. But Flooring Porter with Time Hill, I suspect, would be my 1-2.
There's 4 other races on day 3. We'll go quickly through if any of you fancy anything. Start with you, Andrew.
Yeah, I actually think one of the bets of the week comes in the Kim Muir here. a horse called Smoking Gun. It's been announced this evening as well. Jamie Codd's going to ride Smoking Gun. Rob James is going to be on Frontal Assault, but I think he's been laid out for this race. He won the Porterstown earlier this year for Dennis O'Regan. He stays well. His run at Ferryhouse last day, I don't think Davy Russell was hard on him whatsoever. He's got 140. I think he's got an absolutely bang chance.
Gavin?
Give you one there, the price in the Pertemps final, Tully Beg. I love Gordon Elliott horses that haven't run in ages before the Cheltenham Festival, particularly in a handicap. He's off 140, he's won over 3 mile, he's won over 2.6. He qualified for this well before Christmas. It was 5th in October at Cheltenham. He must have a big chance at 14 to 1. I think he's 14s. I really like Frontal Assault. His price is gone, I suppose, really. So maybe if he drifts back out, Frontal Assault has a big chance. And don't forget Bustleton in the Paddy Power Plate. It looks like it's gone up £8 from 137 to 145, but it hasn't. Because you get a £2 age allowance in the UK, so he's actually gone up £6 to 143 is what he's running off. He ran very well in the Irish Arkle over 2 mile 1, but he's won over 2.5, 2.5 and 2.6, so he must be a decent chance at 10 or 12 to 1.
Dave?
Same as Gavin in the Pertemps, Tully Beg. He's ran at the track, qualified, he was put away for the race, and then in the Mayor's Novice, Dino Blue.
Andrew?
I wouldn't put anyone off having a sneaky each-way bet on Ballyandy in the Pertemps. He's had to run 2 races, 2 mile 7 the first time in his career, and he's had the Bolton up twice. He'd be kind of a class angle in the race. He's gone off the mark of 150. In these compressed handicaps, I think he could run a big race.
Tom, the master of handicaps and value?
Jesus, I don't know about that now. The master of handicaps and the one I'm going to put up in handicap is the favourite. I think Dunboyne all year for me has been very obvious in the Pertemps. Walked through the second last at Leopardstown the last day when just about to get into the race. I think he's got a good chance, but look, his price is pretty much gone now. The bet for me, and this is where Andrew is going to kill me again because it's in the market, it's non-runner, no bet with a different bookmaker. Let's leave it at that, Andrew. Grand in the mares
Hacked in the morning.
in the mares novice hurdle. I think she's got a hell of a chance, to be honest. She won a Grade 2 bumper at Leopardstown last year. She was then 6th in the champion bumper, staying on. She was only beaten 13 lengths. She actually jumps really well. I know she fell the last day, but if you watch it back, she jumped the hurdle fine. Her landing gear just didn't come out. Brian Cooper was pretty sure he had all things covered in front of him that day. That would put her right up there. And I just think because of that and the fact that she was beaten at Leopardstown, not to knock jockeys, Dara, but Paul Townend didn't give her the best rides that day. He came very wide all around them, and she was still only beaten 4 lengths behind Mighty Potter. That's a very good run. She goes at the track, and yeah, I think she's got a really solid each way chance. Yep.
Dara?
Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Frontal Assault, I think, for the Kim Muir. He had a very good run the last day against Floror. So I think the trip and everything would really suit him. There's a mare in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle, Martin Brazel's mare, Choice Awards. I think she's a big enough price. She probably outran. She ran really well the last day in Naas behind Journey with me, and I'm not sure. I don't know if she'll be good enough or not for the first 2 or 3 in the betting. But I think whatever she is, 33 to 1 or something. I think if the ground, if it ends up being on the slow side or anything, I think she could outrun her odds a bit.
Who's going to take on Grand Party? Who wants to take him on? You've all tipped him up nearly at this stage.
Everyone, no?
Did you not tip him up last week?
Andrew tipped him up, but obviously then that means everyone wants to take him on. So.
Okay.
And what?
He's actually not a favourite. I don't mind Grand Party as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw a heap if you have Grand Party up, so I was just wondering.
Do you want to pick one and I'll have a match bet with you?
I don't have a clue even what race it's running in.
What are you talking about, so?
Because it's on my list.
He's not running it now.
Sorry, Dynamo. Right. We go to day 4, will we?
Yeah.
We're nearly there. Triumph Hurdle.
What he said.
It's fair to say that the Irish hold the upper hand here anyway, lads.
Yeah, I think Vauban will be very hard to beat. What he done at the Dublin Racing Festival last month was very good. Out wide most of the race, a few novice jumps, put the race to bed in a matter of strides. By all means, Willie thinks there's a lot more left in the tank, and I think he'll take some whacking in this.
Dave?
Yeah, Vauban for me as well. The Irish seem to hold all the aces, but I think Vauban is probably still a good price, to be honest.
Gavin, your view on the Triumph?
If you didn't hear Willie's quote after Vauban winning, I'd probably be going for Pied Piper. Had 9 runs in the flat, rated 96 in the UK. And one thing is that it's won over the course and distance of the Triumph, which can't be any harm to have gone over and done that. Pied Piper jumped very well in Cheltenham bar, one little mistake down the back. Vauban and Leopardstown jumped a bit to his right, made 1 or 2 mistakes, but visually very, very impressive to go and beat Fildor. It was a slowly run race, the times will show you that. Fildor, the Triumph Hurdle is on the new course, and it's 2 miles 1, so if they go a mental gallop, maybe he'll close the gap, but you just can't see him beating Vauban. Hard to choose between the two of them. There's only a half length between them at Punchestown. Both have improved a lot since. One horse who's 14-1 is Ilete Tomp. Gary O'Brien and Ruby Walsh's charity bet last Friday night, each way at 14-1. Only had the 1 run for Willie behind Vauban, so maybe he can close that a little bit as well. So maybe Pied Piper, but Ilete Tomp each way must have a chance.
Tom?
Yeah, this is, without ruining the end of the show, this is probably my next best bet of the meeting in Vauban. I thought he was the one to take out the race the first day against Pied Piper. I think if he'd jumped the last a bit better, he'd have gone very, very close to beating him. He was very impressive at the Dublin Racing Festival. That left me thinking that there was no way he'd get beaten at Cheltenham this year. And then the Willie Mullins stable talk quote where he said he actually didn't want to go down this route at all. He wanted to keep him as a novice for next year. He hadn't really been training hard for his maiden hurdle. He ran into one there, so that encouraged them to go for the Grade 1 without winning a maiden hurdle. And he said, for a lot of horses that run in it, the Triumph is their derby, but I have bigger plans for this fella. When Willie Mullins says that, I think you stand up and take note. Hopefully, this could be the first horse to go on and have a proper 5-year-old career and maybe win a champion hurdle.
Dara, your view on Vauban? Or is there something else?
Yeah, look, I thought he was probably, his lack of experience, I'd say, that cost him in Punchestown. Pied Piper, was good. Went on to Cheltenham, won really well, but I don't think you could read too much into that form, to be honest. He dropped in, he got a lovely ride from Davy, and he was quite keen, but jumped really well, and he basically cantered up the straight, but Fieldor was only 3 lengths behind Vauban and Leopardstown, and I think maybe Cheltenham could. I think Fieldor could really close the gap on Vauban. I'm not saying he'd beat him, but I think he could. I think the track will really suit Fieldor. He's very professional. He's a very good jumper, and I suppose besides the last day, you could arguably say that he was very impressive in all his runs, and I think he's a horse that he kind of only does what he has to as well. He seems to be a really laid back horse, and I think Cheltenham and the Hill will really bring out the best in him. So I think Vauban. I think he's very short, and I know he beat him the last day comfortably, but I think Fieldor is a good price at the price he is, and I can see him really staying on up the hill.
Andrew, any view on the Triumph?
I'd agree with exactly what Dara said there, actually. I think Fildor is a cracking price in this each way. I can't see him out of the 3. I think if Davey had it again, he probably would have maybe committed a little earlier last time out as well. Maybe that wouldn't have done anything to the end result, perhaps not, but it would have been plenty sharp at Leopardstown for him. He wants soft ground, 2 mile 1. Like, he's probably a big stayer of the making. Went into the race last year. Everyone thought Ryanair would win. Probably the better stayer, Quilixios won. So Phil Dort, 7-1 for myself.
There we go. The Albert Bartlett. Who wants to start it off?
Yeah, I'll start it off. I think one of the best bets of the week is in this. And it's not in the race on your screen at the moment. A horse called Bardenstown Lad. He reminds me an awful lot of when Martin Brazel campaigned City Island to win the Ballymore. It's been softly. He's won probably races that people wouldn't have been thinking of. He went over to Musselburgh, won a 3-runner race when all of these horses were running at the Dublin Racing Festival. I think he's got a really likeable profile. He's won at Cheltenham. He's a hardy horse. Not saying he's the best horse long term to maybe take out of the race, but you can still get 12-14-1. I think he's a cracking price, and sometimes with form you've got to take something on, and I would take on all of these runners in the Nathaniel Lacey race. Just for me, didn't do it for me, so I think Bardenstown Lad, he's coming in there with winning form. John McConnell's gone, perhaps...
Lads, listen to Andrew. He's after driving down from Dublin. He's
people listen to Gavin. People listen to you.
I'm saying for people to listen to you. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no. Thank you very much. I think he's got a very good chance. Look, it's probably not something you'd look at a horse going to the October meeting in Cheltenham. I think he won his maiden hurdle at Wexford in the summer. So it's not flashy form. I'm not saying it is, but he fills a lot of trends for this race. And if ever there was a race that probably fits trends, it's the Albert Bartlett. So him at 12 or 14-1, I think he's a really good each way bet.
Darryl, you'll have a ride in this one, you will what you want go in this?
I'm not sure. I'd say if what you want turns up, I'd say more than likely the Ballymore. I'd say with Sean sponsoring that race. So, look, yeah, I think the 2 Manila horses. I think Manila Crooner. I thought he actually ran well the last day. He seemed to be staying on really well. I thought Manila Cocooner got a lovely ride from Danny in Leopardstown in that race. I thought he jumped out, made the running, and I thought he got the fraction spot on. He didn't go overly quick, and he kind of got first run. And I as you can see in the screen there, I thought Manila Crooner was really staying from the back of the last. He was closing the gap the whole time. Another horse that I was impressed with in Clonmel, he mightn't have beaten a whole lot, was Chanterouse. I know you could say that he didn't beat a whole lot, but he really impressed me that day. I know the ground was heavy and everything. The ground was bottomless actually, but the way he jumped the last hurdle that day, I thought was very impressive. Thought he was really good in Cork as well. In his maiden hurdle again, you couldn't really arguably say that he beat a whole lot, but he'd be one for me that if he turned up at an each way price. I think this race is open enough, to be honest.
Tom, you haven't backed at 66s, is it?
Yeah, I hope a few of you watch the show and follow us in on a few of them, because Chanterouse I put up at 66s, and it actually held for a long time. He ran in that race at Clonmel that Dara said. That's a race Henry has used for a lot of decent horses. Chris's Dream, Manila Indo, and there's another one I can't remember now. Chris's Dream bolted up in this, so... Do you fall off a horse?
The wind took me off him.
But yeah, Chanterouse for me, this used to be a race that everyone said you needed a lot of runs in, and Henry kind of changed everything with Manila Indo, really, who came into this with very little runs. Chanterouse fits that bill for me. I think he's probably his price now, but as Dara said, I definitely back him each way. I think he's a hell of a chance, to be honest. The other one is Manila Crooner. I've been quite sweet on him since his run at Leopardstown. He finished behind Journey with me. He actually split Journey with me and Kilcrut that day. That was a very good run. And then the last day at Leopardstown, he missed the second last and stayed on very, very well to the line. So I think he's the right favourite. And I think it's between the two of them for me.
Dave, your views on the Albert Bartlett?
It's a hard one to pick out. Very competitive race. Looks a good race on paper. I know Tom likes Chartreuse, and he was saying about Manila Indo winning that particular race as well and not having many runs. But generally, you do need a lot of runs to win this race. You need to be battle hardened. And
what's the stats, O'Keefe?
Is the last, I think, 50 and odd years, horses that haven't had a lot of runs that won it were Bobsworth and Manila Indo, who went on to win Gold Cups. So do you think Chartreuse is a Gold Cup winner? You have to look at it like
genuinely think he could be.
Yes, he said over here.
No, he looks like he's a massive horse. He looks like he'll be a better tracer. He wouldn't shock me if he was a Gold Cup horse.
I like Hillcrest, but he's too short now. So I picked out an outsider, Dermot Wells' horse. Not sure if he's going to go. Falcon 8. He's listed standard, Group 3 standard on the flat. A lot of runs on the flat. He ran in the maiden hurdle that Journey with me won, and Kilcrut was in, and Manila Crooner was in. Jumped much better the last day. If Dermot Wells sends him over, I'd take notice of it. So him each way.
Andrew?
It's a tough enough race, but there's one who I would be very interested in if they actually ran him here, and that's Ginto. I think he would be tailor-made for this race. I think he's a horse that just keeps on galloping. I really like him for this. I think the Ballymore might be a bit too fast for him. I think if he runs here, I think he probably is a fair deal better than the rest of them. So if Ginto runs here, I would have a nice bet on him. There's actually one English horse that I quite like as well, and that's Archie Watson's Staghorn. Archie Watson's more or less known for a flat run, flat trainer. This thing was rated 106 103 on the flat. So he's decent enough on the flat. He's 2 for 2 over hurdles. He's a front runner who is a very good jumper and just seems to keep going from the front. He would be interested in the big price, but if Ginto turns up, well, he would be the one for me.
Gavin?
Yeah, Ginto would have a great chance, but unfortunately it looks like he might be going for the Ballymore. Just to put things in perspective with this race, the last 5 or 6 years, Vanillier 14s, Monkfish 5s, Melilindo 50s, 33, 16s and 11s before that, so it's a punter's nightmare, the Bartlett. I'd be against Chartreuse, beating Ivan, who's not from 7 over hurdles, wouldn't be for me. I think that the nice guy is overpriced for Willie Mullins at 12 to 1. Anything that Paul Townend, if it's got any form at all, doesn't go off 12 to 1 at Cheltenham, particularly if Willie's having a good week. He won the 2 bumpers. Willie has said he's not flashy at all. He keeps surprising him all the time. He won a maiden hurdle over 2 mile 3, which looked a decent maiden hurdle. I'd say Paul will ride this, and I'd say it'll go off 6, 7, 8 to 1 just because of that. But I think he's got a great chance. He's 7 years old. Might be light in experience. His jumping was fine in Naas. So for me, the nice guy at 12 to 1.
There we go. I'm going to leave the Gold Cup to last. So, the Mayor's Chase. Constantista, Mount Ida, Ellie May.
I'll take it. I'm a fan of Mount Ida. Put her up at big prices earlier in the year. She obviously ran a crazy race last year and still managed to win. She's not going to be able to do that this year, but I don't think she will. So yeah, I'm going to stick with Mount Ida.
Tom, was you worried that her 7 runs over fences, 6 were right-handed, and Kim Muir was the only one where she went left-handed? As we all know, she jumped terribly to her right. Now, if she does jump straight, she's a brilliant mare. Was that a big worry or a small worry for you?
Yeah, even though she has gone the other way, I don't think she's jumped wildly out to the other way. If she jumps off and she does what she did last year, she's got no chance. I don't think she'll do that, but it is an if, isn't it?
I just think if you go back and maybe watch at the last Inferiors, at the last 2 fences when the heat was on, I thought she jumped to her right a bit, but sure, we'll see. Just to mention the concertista who's only had 2 runs over fences, she has to give Ellie May and Mount Ida £3 plus the experience. So I think it's a bit unfair, same as the Mayor's novice hurdle. But for me, Ellie May, I think her run last year was very good against Collereevy. Do you want to talk about handicaps yet or not yet?
Anyone else? View on the Mayor's Chase?
Ellie May for me as well. Concertista is a good horse. Her Cheltenham form is good as well, but she lacks experience over fences. And the horse that bet Ellie May last year, if she had stayed in training, she'd probably be a Gold Cup horse. She ended up beating Monkfish and Envoyal and a Punchestown and Collereevy. She was a very good horse, so there's nothing like that in the race this year. I know why Tom likes Mount Ida, but she'd surely be too slow.
Yeah, I'd agree with the lads. I think Ellie May is the bet in this. Her form last year behind Collereevy has been franked big time before she was tired. Mount Ida I just can't have. Concertista, I think her jumping is a worry. She gets in really tight defences. I think Ellie May will win. I think she'll win it quite handy enough now.
Yeah, I think Ellie May as well. She was with the cheapies on her the last. She seemed to be a different mare. Mark bucked out and made the running on her, and she obviously ran a cracker last year in Cheltenham. Mount Ida, she's a good mare, but as I said, her jumping can be a little bit erratic. But in saying that, she's done nothing wrong this year, winning Clonmel and Fairyhouse. The one I think here that could run well at an each way price is Gin on Lime. I think she runs very well fresh. She hasn't ran since November time. She's a very good jumper when she's on song, and she likes going from the front as well. And I think she could outrun her odds as well.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'd echo what everyone said about Ellie May. She's a horse I have backed. Probably wouldn't be a race I'd have a massive play on, to be honest, because there's just a niggling doubt in my mind that Ellie May might find something to beat her. So at 5-2, I don't think it's a great price at that. So if she was maybe a little bit bigger, you could make a case for it, but it wouldn't be a race I'd have a massive play on.
Quickly, views on the County, Martin Pipe and the Hunter's Chase, Gavin?
Just one thing to watch is, to me, the best 3 jockeys he ever saw at Cheltenham was obviously Ruby, Barry, and I think Davy Russell's amazing. The rides he gave all the horses, say, 2 years ago, chose a mate in the Grand Annual, etc. He's just amazing around Cheltenham. And there's 2 horses riding, Party Central, the Mayor's Novice, but also Top Bandit in the County. And they're on the new course. It's a long straight. It's a long run in. And if they hit the front at the last, it's too soon. It has to be much later than that. So I just can't wait to watch Davy on those 2. I think Top Bandit is well in off 139. I'd say Gordon has had this race in mind from... he got his rating in January, which is probably a good idea, from 135 to 139. Echoes and Rain only got £1 from the English handicapper. She's off 150. She'll be up near the top of the weights, but I think Top Bandit's a great chance there. And obviously State Man is a talking horse. Fell at Christmas, won a maiden hurdle in Limerick. Gets into the Martin Pipe off 141, so that must have a big squeak. It's not a great price, but even so. So Top Bandit in the County and maybe State Man in the Martin Pipe.
No, not really. Why are you taking his lead off? Go on, so. Go on. Yeah, go on. Yeah, take it off.
Will you sit down?
We're going to bring it to the trade
Bring it to the start.
For Bob. He's bringing it for Bob.
Dave, you have the microphone in your hand. Anything in them 3?
State Man, wherever he goes, I think it'll be the Martin Pipe. And I'd like to see Colonel Mustard running the County. I think he'd have a good shot in that.
Tom?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, this kind of starts and it finishes with me and Dave agreeing. It's a bit strange, that one. But yeah, we actually disagree on where State Man will go. I think he'll go for the County. Dave thinks he'll go for the Martin Pipe. I think this is one of these handicappers that I don't think Willie Mullins ever thought he'd end up in a handicap with State Man. We got a strong word that he was a horse for the Supreme before Leopardstown at Christmas when he fell. He's then come out and won at Limerick, which is a bad enough race, and he's ended up with a decent enough handicap. mark of 141. I think he just has to go for a handicap off of that. Willie has put forward the county. Patrick has put forward the Martin Pipe, so we'll see where he goes, but he's definitely got a very strong favours chance wherever he does go. And Dave mentioned Colonel Mustard. He was the only one who could get near Sir Gerhard and Kenny's horse, Tree Stripe Life at Leopardstown, and John Bond. So yeah, he's got a very good chance. And the other one, myself and Gavin put him up for the Fox Hunters, is Bob and Co. Didn't run quite as well at Haydock as
Gavin is disagreeing. Gavin put up Wing Leader.
Andy put up Bob. You put up Bob and Co. You put up Bob and Co. No,
You obviously don't watch the show.
I don't. Sorry, Gavin. My apologies.
That's all right. That's right.
That makes for a really awkward telephone conversation that I had with Gavin a few weeks about.
Oh, I mentioned him on the Saturday paper thing.
You mentioned him on the
Saturday
Saturday paper. I had a conversation with Gavin a couple of weeks ago about how we both put up Bob and Co. So now I know why he was a bit quiet. He didn't run quite as well as I'd liked at Haydock, but it looked to me like he blew up and then ran on. It's a bad enough race when you get down out of the first few in the market in the Hunter's Chase, and I think 10-1 is a good bet for Bob and Co.
Dara, anything in them 3 races take your fancy?
Yeah, the county, I actually think I like my mate Mozzie. I think if you could forgive me his run the last day in Leopardstown, I think Gavin Cromwell made it clear that he needs good ground, and maybe that was the excuse from the last day. But I think he's a horse that we still haven't seen the best of. I think off 146, I still think he's open to improvement in that. I think the race will suit him if they go quick, and he touch wood, he jumps well and travels well. So I think he could be interesting if they go the county route with him. I think that's what they're saying at the minute. So I think at the price he could run well. The Fox Hunters, I actually really like Winged Leader as well. I think he's been very progressive. He's after racking up a series of Hunter's Chases now and Pine of Pints and stuff, and I think it'd be great for the Dave Christie team. He's well able to map out these open Hunter Chases horses, and I think this lad's been very progressive. I thought he was very impressive the last day in Thurles, beating Billy Way. So I think he could pull up a bold show as well.
Andrew?
Yeah, I'd agree with the guys on State Man. Obviously, he's been well found in the markets. The only other one I'd throw into the mix for either the County or Martin Pipe is Adamantly Chosen. He's off 142. I think he's a well-handicapped horse off that. I don't know which one. I suspect he'll run in whichever one State Man doesn't run in. So, also, obviously, in the Martin Pipe, just look out for Willie Mullins' horses, I'd say. Jack Foley's probably going to be on the number 1. Richie Deegan on the number 2. So that's something to bear in mind.
We go to the Gold Cup. Or Andrew, have you something for those 3? Sorry.
Just one. In the county, or the Martin Pipe, sorry, or wherever he runs, really. Gowl Road for Nigel Twiston Davis. His first run over 2 mile 5 was a 2.5 length win on against Unexpected Party, the November meeting at Cheltenham. He since went on and won. He's on a mark of where is it gone again? He's on a mark of 145, which I think is a very competitive way for him. I think he was second behind Messier the last day in the Lingfield Millions meeting. I think he could run a big race at a big price.
There we go. The Gold Cup. Where do we start with it, really?
If only. Go on, take it.
Andrew deserted that fan club as well. He's got a habit of this, hasn't he?
What are you on about?
The Alboon fan club. Come on, you had scarves, the two of you, and everything.
Yeah, and what, did he win 2 Gold Cups when we put him up? Yes, so shut your mouth.
That's for Asterion for Lounge now. I find it very hard to split the top of the market in this.
They were, Darragh, they were bad Gold Cup.
They were probably bad Gold Cups, lads. It's all right.
Was that because you were riding in them? You leave my dinosaur alone now. Bring him for Bob. Galvin to me looks the most solid one, but I just don't know if he's good enough to be winning a Gold Cup. Very hard for horses to come back a second year if they didn't win it the first year to win it. An outsider or Tornado Flyer for me. I think he won the King George at Kempton. He's probably being overlooked. People are saying it wasn't the best race in the world, but he did win it. He looks progressive at 3 miles. I do think he'll stay. His first try at the race, he ran in the Ryanair last year, getting battered by Allaho with the speed he went with. I mean, every horse felt that. So I'd give him a shot each way. It's very hard to pick the top of the market for me.
Tom?
You just mind that dinosaur now.
Tom, view on the Gold Cup?
I'll go. Well, yeah, I'll keep Jay a happy man anyway. I think I'd keep it with the 2 Henry horses here. A Plutard for me. I think the experience of bring him on. He's got very few runs over 3 miles. I think he could have won. He could have won at Christmas. He was unlucky enough now. I fancy him to return the tables with Manila Indo. But if I had to pick one to finish second, it'd be Indo as well. He's a funny old horse to see him as well. He just comes alive at Cheltenham by all accounts, and you couldn't rule him out of any race. But look, it's an open Gold Cup. The one I'd definitely take on though is Protectorat. I think he'll be outclassed by a good few of these.
Dara, if you want a Gold Cup?
I think at Plutard, he's still only an 8-year-old. I thought he ran a great race last year. He probably just got outstayed and outbattled by Manila Indo, who I thought ran really well the last day in Leopardstown. And I think Galvin, I think just the ride that Davy Russell gave him in Leopardstown the last day, I thought was the winning and losing of the race. I thought he actually just lifted him over the line, and the same at Conflated. Even when he won in Leopardstown the last day, I thought Davy just stole that race as well. He just kicked at the right time and just got a few lengths and maintained it. So I couldn't have Galvin. I think he'll run well in it, but I don't think he's good enough to win it. So I think at Plutard, I thought he was so impressive in.
Do you not think for like a Grade 1 horse that's like, at Plutard is great, he comes second and third a lot?
Not really.
But he does though.
Yeah, he does, but I still wouldn't mind owning them, to be honest. Sure, look, they were probably, I'd say...
I wouldn't mind owning them either, but it's wanting to win the race.
What you're saying all night anyway, sure, he's probably been second and third in bad races. So, look, as I said, I think he's been to Cheltenham already. He's won there. He's won a Savills Chase. He's won a Betfair Chase, second in a Gold Cup. So I think to me he seems to be winning quite a lot as well. And has he ever even been out of the first 3? I don't think so. His runs are very consistent, and I still think he's open to improvement over the trip. So I think at Plutard is the one for me.
At Plutard. Now, I got done on Silvanaco Conti, right? And I admit I got done on that. But Dave, you've just been done here. 18 runs, 7 wins, 8 seconds, 3 thirds. Never outside the first 3 in his life. 7 wins out of
what
those
did
races.
I say? For a superstar horse, he comes second and third a lot.
He's won 7 of his 18
out of 18.
runs.
Give me a percentage of what that is.
What's that, like 40%? That's an incredible percentage.
Gavin, your view on the Gold Cup?
I think that a Plutard, his jumping in the Ryanair 2 years ago was so-so. His jumping in the Gold Cup last year was so-so. His jumping this season has been better. What's wrong?
Did you see him round Haydock at all, no?
Yeah, I'm saying in Haydock he was better. Leopardstown he was kept wide. I'm just saying his last 2 times around Cheltenham his jumping could have been better. Manila Indo, just to tell you, he could be 3 from 3 at the track. To give an example of how much he improves for going to Cheltenham is as a novice hurdler, he was beaten 4 lengths by Allaho in Clonmel, and a month later he beat him by 9, so that's a 13-length turnaround, so he's obviously, it's his favourite track. I'm going to go for Galvin. He's had 3 runs this season, ran at Punchestown, second at Frodon, beats a Plutard. Now, just to tell you, in that race in the Savills, on the last circuit, Gallop and Deschamps had a quicker time for the last circuit, so it wasn't a quick run, Savills, and he still had the toe. Rachel keeps Davy in at the bend, and you'd imagine that a Plutar would have more gears than Galvin over that trip in a slowly run race. I think the 3 mile 2, we know he won the National Hunt Chase, so he stays. His 4 runs at Cheltenham so far have been on the old track. I think the new track will suit him much better, because the old track is more of a speed track. This lad stays forever. He jumps very well, and if the ground is good on the Friday, he'll love it. So for me, 4-1 Galvin is very fair.
Andrew Blair.
Yeah, I'd actually like to ask Dara here, because he's just said himself that Manella Indo out-battled and outstayed A Plutar last year. I kind of don't see how that will happen differently this year, because I think A Plutar is a super horse, but over 3 mile 2 at Cheltenham he always looks, well, I thought last year maybe he was outstayed, and I'd be interested to hear how you think that's going to happen differently.
I think if they probably ride A Plutar maybe like last year, I think watching it back, I think if memory serves me right, the 2 of them kind of locked horns from jumping to second last, and I think Manila Indo, I think the sooner you take him on, I think you'd only help him. So I think if they ride A Plutar like a more pacier horse, rather than trying to lock horns with Manila Indo turn into the straight, I think if they bide their time with him, I think, and try just to pinch it, I can really see him doing that. Regards his jumping, I think his jumping is fine. Galvin again, like even Galvin didn't jump great last year when Jack Kennedy rode him around Cheltenham. He'd probably jump and could have left him down in Down Ryle this year when Jamie Codd rode him. I know he jumped well the last day, but I think Manila Indo, look, he's the reigning champion, and if he brings his A game, he's going to be the one they all have to beat. But I think if they ride A Plutar with a bit to be coming there after jumping the last, rather than locking horns with Manila Indo turning in, I think they'll have a good chance of beating him.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I was just asking the question. I'd be with Manella Indo myself. I thought he ran a great race at Leopardstown the last day. Robbie Parr seemed to get on very well with him, which is good, because he can sometimes take a little bit of time with the new jockey. And I'm probably Album Photo's biggest fan, so probably heart over head, but I'd be backing him each way, and I wouldn't almost care what Willie Mullins is saying at the moment. He's saying that he's not working well at all. I don't think that matters a jot, to be honest. I still think he'd run a solid race in the Gold Cup. He's probably vulnerable to win it, but he's 10-1. How he's 10-1 in Protectorate is 8-1 is one of racing's myths that I won't be able to solve.
Andrew, the Gold Cup?
I think Manel Indo is the one they all have to beat here. His former Cheltenham doesn't lie. He won in Albert Bartlett. He was done on the line by Champ, and he's the reigning champion. If he turns up in the same form that he did last year, I think he'll be very, very hard to pass up the straight.
There we go. Right, thanks to Hollywoodbets. There's a €50 charity bet, with the winnings hopefully going to St Patrick's Hospital. So I'll kick it off. My €50 for Statesman, whichever race he runs in, Andrew. Andrew Blair.
25 each way, Bardenstown lad in the Bartlett.
Dara.
I think Chanterouse each way for me.
Tom.
I like that, Dara. I'm going for the Richie double, Vauban and Gaelic Warrior.
Dave.
50 win on Vauban.
Andrew.
Tell Me Something Girl and Ellie May in the double.
Tell Me Something Girl.
Gavin.
50 win from Salt in the Kimure.
And Jason's in on this as well, and he's told that his €50 win is Kilcrush in the Supreme. So there we go. That's really good up for Andrew Blair White, Dara O'Keefe, Tom Rain, David O'Keefe, Andrew Halligan and Gavin Lynch. Thanks to Frankie and Dean over here, and to the staff at the Tower Hotel. Thanks very much.